Welcome everybody to tonight's coverage of Dreadzone Gaming Elysium versus, I'm gonna screw up the name the first time, I'm gonna try not to the second time, Conduit Esports Kraken. Got it right. I am Let's Pretty, and joining me tonight is one of my new friends here, Morpheus. How you doing tonight, Morph?
I'm good, mate. You got the name fully right, I'll tell you that much, both on them and me. So welcome over, and it's good to be back 2 days in a row with you guys.
Yeah, already the draft is going very quickly underway. 2 bans down on both sides. Dreadzone is taking out the Lilia and the Anivia. Meanwhile, Conduit is taking out the Wukong and the Seraphine. Seraphine on red side, can't say that ban is too surprising.
Seraphine did take quite a big of a hit as far as the nerf goes for this patch, as the bans are, jungle bans are heavy right now, so we are going to see between Angry President and Glada where the price is. Okay, I said this before we started. Swains is the reason DZG has been winning. Why do teams not ban it? This champion generally goes into the mid lane. DZG does have Tai in as a substitute, just as an FYI, but this is kind of like their bread and butter. But seeing Sivir coming through, hopefully for Conduit Kraken, is actually really good. I do believe she is currently the best AD carry in the game right now.
She's one of the best right now. Really, the only thing limiting her is that 500 range. But if you pair her up with a support like a Yuumi, a Lulu, a Renata, one of these enchanters that can really like allow her to just sprint forward without caring what the enemy team is doing, she can become a monster.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is she pairs both utility with the ultimate that she has with high-profile damage. All she needs is a Kraken and Phantom Dancer, and based upon the number of bounces that she gets off her W, she is able to heavily shell out damage. Look what he said, right? Hey, I want to go fast. Pony says, hey, I'm here too. I go burr as well, with the Hecarim coming in for Conduit.
Yeah, with this lineup that Conduit is putting together, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Yumi on that third pick. And if we don't see it, I would really like to see DZG just ban out these enchanters, because if you let Sivir have these picks that just allow her to scale up, and even someone like Hecarim really likes having that speed up with him. So these are picks that are dangerous if Conduit can get their hands on it. It's just going to depend on what DZG wants to pair with the Swain. And it looks like we have a potential for Swain Senna. Obviously, the Swain can go mid lane, but DZG has played this bot lane before, and it looks pretty good.
Symphonic has played a fair amount of Swain over the past weeks to a strong degree of success, so I do think that this will be a Swain set of bot lane. The only thing that I'm trying to keep my eye on is if Tahm Kench is potentially an option as well, as it's not been banned. Be very curious to see what the blind will be here from DZG. Well, there you go. So this tells me Senna TK bot lane with the Swain mid. The only variant to that would be the Swain Senna bot lane, and then ICGE taking the Tahm Kench top. ICG has been playing a lot more of his veins lately, so I don't think this will end up going up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say ICGE feels like a bit more of a power forward, if we're gonna use some different sports terminology. Someone who really wants to be aggressive and taking the action to the enemy team. So Tahm Kench doesn't feel like exactly his style, but Conduit Esports is gonna pick up the Morgana, which I think is a pretty interesting response to seeing Swain and Tahm Kench. You're gonna have a little bit less lane pressure, but in the mid and late game, that Black Shield is gonna be putting in work.
Yeah, this lane is actually a very dangerous lane for DZG to go into, because while you do have extra damage on the side of them right now, landing any sort of CC against a Sivir Morgana gets particularly difficult to do. Not only that, because of the Black Shield Morgana has, it's able to protect Hecarim should he end up going a little bit more headfirst into the wall of DCG. We do see Ornn and Olaf being banned right now, so this tells me that Squig and ICG are going to be the targets. Graves coming out, again, can be played by ICG in the top lane as well. So that seems to be where the focus would be. I would imagine that Conduit would want to keep their final pick for Squig in the top lane and probably blind something for Merciful Crow.
Yeah, this is the situation where you pick your bottom side and your jungler in the early parts of the draft. You're sort of forced to blind pick one of your solo laners, which I'd say are the lanes that are like the most influenced by the ability to have counter pick. So it's really going to depend on what Conduit thinks is the priority for them in this draft, because they do technically already see the Swain. They should be able to grab the counter, unless they do think ICGE is going to hold on to that Tahm Kench. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw something scaling, something simple like a Victor, Lissandra, something that's just gonna be able to facilitate Sivir's free hitting in team fights a little bit more.
Well, there's a Victor, perfect guy in the mid lane. They've got a lot of AP on the side of Conduit though, but Victor again able to, as you mentioned, be able to scale up and become a powerhouse once he ends up reaching through items and completing that hex core as well. I am very curious to see what ICGE ends up taking here, because the guy's pulled out some weird and wacky stuff, but it's worked. That's the most important thing. Most notably has been the Vayne in the top lane, which has been played multiple times. This, I imagine, will be the mid lane counter coming in for DZGE. Okay, that's gotta be. That's okay. So this is where I'm throwing things out, right? Zillion's going in the mid lane. You're gonna have TK Senna. No. You're gonna have the TK top, Senna Swain bot, and then this will be a jungler.
Well, this has to be the jungler for sure.
Yeah.
Unless we have Tahm Kench in the jungle, which I don't think is exactly an Angry Presence pool.
No, man, that catfish ain't got a big enough stomach for that.
Yeah. I know that they, Riot recently, not recently, but a while ago, made some changes to, like, allow Tahm Kench to jungle in some way. That does showing as a missed ban, but I'm just gonna keep my eye on the in-client draft to see what the pick actually is. Looks like it is Volibear. Okay, that makes much more sense for what Angry Present wants to play. But the Zillion's got me in a bit of a tizzy. I think it might actually be the Senna TK bottom lane, and it might be Swain up there in the top side.
Well, this will actually be a very good pick for Alawi, because you have almost 3 melees. You can count Swain more or less kind of. I know he's ranged, but he ends up getting melee in your face anyway. So the Alawi actually does end up putting quite well here, especially if you have a TK and the Volibear going towards top side. Alawi wants to fight as a deficit. They wants to fight 2v1. I want to be against more champions. You want to be on your own more often at a time. So this is actually a really smart pick on the side of Conduit. As we do get into the client side, I'm waiting to see who goes where on the side of DZG. I do suspect the TK will go top. I do suspect the Zilean will go mid, and then it'll be Swain center bot lane. The only difference would be Zilean and Swain potentially switching around. Drafts on both sides. Conduit has a very big go button. DZG's like, well, how many times do you think you can kill us?
Yeah, I think Zilean is such a underutilized pick. If you were watching the LEC earlier today, Hylissang pulled that out for Fnatic, and while it didn't lead them to a win, he looked really good on it, as Hylissang usually does. But the champion just does so much for your team. The AoE crowd control, the speed up and the slowdown, alongside that revival ultimate, it just makes such a big difference in team fights when, especially for DZG, you have such priority targets like the Swain, like the Senna, targets that you need to take down if you're going to win a fight. If they suddenly have a Zilean ulti on top of them, it's so hard to like convince yourself like, oh yeah, killing this champion with the Zilean ulti on them is totally worth our time to spend.
Yeah, but the one thing is, you knew I was a Fnatic fan. You just rubbed the salt in the wound because as spoilers, we got our poop kicked in.
Yeah,
so
Mad Lions looked good.
They did look good. I think they're the best team in Europe right now. But anyway, coming through to see who ends up going where. With looking at both teams, Conduit looks like they have a more well-rounded composition. They have their go button in the Hecarim and then the Morgana binding as well to potentially get picks out, with having the Alawi in the hands of Squig to just go into the side lanes and say, hey, send the kitchen sink over to me. DZG, as what we've seen, is very, very team fights. All we want to do is we want to fight together. We want to get out of laning phase. As we've just seen, that it's ICGE taking the Swain top lane.
That'll be Zilean mid, yep.
It's got to be Zilean mid in the hands of Ty. Okay, there it is. And then you'll have the Sun and TK bot lane. So everything I just said, throw it out the bloody window.
I actually really like the Swain into the Alawi. It's part of the advantage of having the flexibility in this draft. Because they could have, if the Tahm Kench was a counter to whatever Squig wanted in the top side, they can throw him up there, keep the Swain Senna bottom lane, throw Zilean mid, or even have Zilean Senna bot lane, for as weird as that would be, and throw Swain mid. The draft has flexibility, and that's such a valuable thing to have in your composition. Just the ability to make minor changes to give yourself any little advantage that you can eke out.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to see on DZG side is, can you get out of laning phase? Because individual lanes, if we look at like Victor, it just wants to sit back and scale and just hand check the lane. Doesn't have a ton of kill pressure. Bot lane, it's heavily in the favor of Morgana's Sivir. The back shield and the spell shield really stop the root or the knocker from TK really being effective there. Top lane is the one where I see, hey, if you're going to gank somewhere as a volleyball, you'd want to go, but then fighting negatively into positively teammate-wise into an Alawi can be dangerous, depending on the number of tentacles that she has set up. So if I'm DZG, I'm thinking, you know what? I want to take this slow. Let's get through laning phase as safe as we can. And then once we are able to, let's say, contest for objectives or towers, now we can fight as a team. That is where their comp really comes to shine.
Yeah, it is the thing that kind of worries me about the Volibear. Volibear is one of these champions that, like, really has to make early plays happen. He's not a high-economy jungler. He's not going to sit inside his jungle, farm up all his camps, and then just repeat farming. He wants to get ganks off. He wants to be active on the map. But when you look at the bottom side of DZG, Zilean, Senna, Tahm Kench, these aren't lanes that want to be incredibly active and trying to, like, be in your face, forcing plays to happen. Senna TK are really happy to farm a lane out. Zilean is happy to, like, just hit level 11 without even seeing his enemy jungler, let alone his own. So really all of the action is going to be present in the top lane, and like you said, Illaoi loves 2 versus 1s. Loves to just pull the soul out of someone with that level 6, just hit the leap of faith, and just start slamming tentacles around.
Yeah, I think if it gets to that point, then it really depends on, does Squig end up going Hullbreaker? Does he end up just buying T5 materials and then taking TP to be able to come fight? We'll find that in the next couple minutes as we go into our spectator delay. Hopefully there's no bugs getting into game. Cheers, Riot. But of the two, I think the Conduit has a more well-rounded comp, but DZG is saying we're going to force you to fight us 5v5.
Yeah, DZG has the scaling. But do you know what might help you scale in real life? One of our partners tonight, Dovey, which is a clean energy drink to help you be a better gamer, be a better active person in society, whatever you might like. Dovey is an energy drink that is similar to many other things that you already use. Dovey has a lot of vitamins, amino acids, and 150 milligrams of caffeine derived from the seeds of coffee plants. And an extra, Dovey has no sugar, no maltodextrin filler, and no artificial colors or dyes, as well as being gluten-free. So if you want to check out the website that we're going to link down below, you can use the code DZGWIN and check out for 10% off extra and supporting us here at DZG.
Oh, looking forward to it. I might get me some.
That you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them. There were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality ain't your reality, no. Sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi.
And we are back, getting ourselves into this level 1 of DZG Elysium versus Conduit Esports Kraken.
I'm super excited to see how these teams pan up. As we see, just going into game 1, every team is just 5-pointing. Keep it nice and respectful. Handshake as we throw some emotes out there. I am very curious to see how this early game particularly goes off for Conduit, because I feel like just champion-wise of what they have, they should be able to smash early lane. Ty at one point will be able to just blow up the entire wave and would be looking to roam. I would be seeing, considering the changes that came to Drakes as well for this patch, if there is going to be any sort of heavy focus around all of the Drakes.
Yeah, Kraken, I think, really needs to be putting a lot of pressure on this bottom side. We were talking about for DZG, the pressure needing to go towards top side, make sure Alawi doesn't get too far ahead, your Swain gets a comfortable laning phase, Angry Present has a lane where he can make active plays happen. But for Kraken, they want to be playing around this bottom side, these early Drakes, just trying to like get Silver Morgana a lead in their lane. And we're already seeing they're positioning fairly aggressively to try and just look for any extra advantage that they can grab.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where they're starting. They may just, like you said, want to get an advantage bot lane, get to that level 2 quicker, so that they would be able to press an advantage towards potentially bottom Drake, with Glada starting on some puppies up on his bot side of the jungle. Now that both Conduit is going to know where the bot lane, or where the jungler of DZG had started, as they have just shown into lane now. Already 4, 5, 6 minions up. They've already more or less gone through the whole wave. Are going to try and push DZG under the tower as best they can, as we're about to see. This is actually a lot, crashing them fairly early on.
Yeah, this is the advantage of it having a jungler that can solo a camp really early. Champions like Hecarim, Kayn, Fiddlesticks, these ones that can take the Raptors or the Wolves, just these early camps, and solo them out means that you get pressure in all of your lanes, as well as the lack of information that the enemy team will have about where your jungler started.
Yeah, and as we're going to see, DZG are going to be not the first ones to hit 2 here first. Ipsy and Billy Ward get there first. So again, we're just going to be expecting to see them continually shoved under their tower the entire time. It is difficult if you want to conserve the mana as a Sivir, then yes, you can hold the wave and have it push against you, but Billy Ward is saying, no, none of that. I want to try and choke these guys under their own tower. So really going to not try to give them any room to breathe or any way for Symphonic to be able to farm up these minions, while also denying DZG hello to say, hey, you can also pick up souls, as well as Squig is not afraid to go over here. We got some hentai fighting.
Yeah, plenty of tentacles coming down. He does have the level 3, which means he had access to the soul pool, just didn't want to throw it out on that trade. Yeah, this is early game Alawi. She's able, especially in lanes like this, where ICGE is very reliant on his abilities. It's not like a Jax or an Aurelia, someone who can just auto attack you down. This is a lane where Alawi can thrive.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to say, oh, Angry Present and Glada here though, but one go cool.
Glada gets the charge, and Angry Present has his own charge in, gets the shield down on himself. Squig is taking a ton of damage. He's gonna go down. First blood goes over to Angry Present. They want to continue the fight. Ty and Merciful Girl both turned into the Angry Present on a sliver of HP. So is ICG. Glada's gonna pick that one up. Nice sidestep, but Glada's gonna get himself a double kill, and now Ty all on his lonesome. It's gonna be 3 kills going over to the Hecarim, and that is a disastrous start for DZG.
That was literally a game of Marvel vs. Capcom where you kept tagging the next person in. A new challenger has arrived as one person after the other kept moving. Great rotations by both the junglers and the mid laners of both teams. It was just unfortunate for Conduit where they ended up getting the first kill early on to Squig, but they ended up turning the entire thing around and slaying down DZG as well. This Hecarim is 3-0. My guy's already got a shutdown and it's 4 minutes into the game right now.
Yeah, that is a lot of gold acceleration for a Hecarim. It means that he's going to be able to grab the bottom side scuttle alongside the top side one that he got earlier. He's going to be able to get a really strong back, power farm his camps, and he should be looking for plenty of gank opportunity. Uh-oh, hello.
Hello.
Taking plenty of damage. Nice spell shield from Billy Willard as well. And this is the Sivir Morgana lane. This is what happens when you just get shoved under your tower relentlessly.
Yeah, this is what they're designed to do. They just put in their foot on the tiger's neck and they say, you're just going to try and strangle you and not able to breathe. I am very curious to see what Glada ends up backing to buy once he's done with these camps here, because the rest of his jungle, with the exception of the Krugs, have been cleared. So I imagine after this, it would be backing to buy an item here. As Ispy keeps walking forward into hello. Got to be careful not to take a tower shot or two there, buddy. ICGE, again, stuck under his tower. This seems to be the theme of the game, as we said. Conduit wants to be able to push everyone under their own tower to refuse them to farm. Even mid lane Ty, because of that roam that he had and died, still lost at least a good wave on in end as well, down nearly 10 CS. Everything is going right for Conduit at this point.
Yeah, I think the only problem for Conduit really becomes, what does Glada do at this point? Because he's already 3-0. He wants to accelerate his lead. He wants to push it more. But when your team is already pushing the enemies under their towers, what can you do? Angry Present is going to spot Squig trying to take this ward. ICG gets the vision of the Empire. There's a stun onto Squig. They're going to try and pull into the other side of the blast cone, but the never move misses, which means Squig gets out of there.
Yeah, so that's one thing to keep in mind of, is that since they now have 3 winning lanes, you're asking what can Glada do? Glada will have priority on both Drake and Herald. So it's a way to continue to accelerate the gold lead. If bot lane and mid lane are consistently pushing in the team of DZG, that's a free Drake for Glada. That is a free Herald for Glada as well. It just depends on where does Angry Present find himself. We've seen him twice up here, coming up for another one now.
He's coming up for his 3rd time. ICGE with a nice pullback. Squig is just gone. Angry Present gonna take the last chance. I don't know about that one. Maybe give that one over to ICGE, but a successful gank, we'll take those.
Yep, good response over by Angry Present onto Squig. Squig, unfortunately, it's the 2nd time he's come through that way, so maybe Squig thinks, you know what, maybe I should buy some vision to be able to place into that tri-rush. We see that there was already one there up on the river, but going through Glada's jungle is where they were able to see it. You get a Glada!
Vision for DZGE. Glada is here. He's just going to get the charge back onto Hello. Hello might have to flash. He's got the heal for himself as well, but a nice binding from Ipsy is going to secure that one. Glada goes on a rampage. This Hecarim is 4-0 now.
Should be a free Drake over to them as well, even though DZG does have vision. Mid lane is still going to be centered, but Merciful Kraken probably push. Yeah, this is a huge Drake pushing against Ty right now. So this should be a free Drake over to them as Billy Wooded ends up moving as well. This is great. Hecarim is 2/3 on his way to his Triforce. He's already got his T2 boots on. Man's put on his Air Forces today. Nice white ones for all my sneakerheads out there. But this will be a free Drake over them. Triforce should be coming out damn near completed for Glado as well. This Hecarim, no matter who you are on DZG, is a problem for all of you.
Yeah, especially because this is the patch where dragons got buffed. This is now, instead of a 6% bonus armor and MR, this is 9%. So any tank stats that Squig has, that Glada has, are just going to be increased by that much more.
And this is where we're going to see, hey, Squig, are you able to, have you learned your lesson? Twice now, Angry Presence come up through that tri-bush. Are
He's
you
got
going
the pink ward.
He does have a pink ward. He does got one, but you would want him to be able to put it down to see, hey, with the both yellow and the pink ward. I would just put the pink ward in your tri-bush, mate. Like, he's come through twice there. Like, I would assume if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He may just end up coming back through again as DZG bot lane keeps getting pushed under their own tower. This is just a never-ending story we're going to run through as we look. Items set on both Ys. Billy Wooded already has the Noon Quiver compared to Hello's, let's be honest, bits and pieces of a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, this is the problem with Senna in the early game. If you're not able to get your special sickle stacked into your opponent in a lane like this, anytime you walk up to try and get like an auto Q to grab a soul, you're taking half your HP in response. So you can see that even at like the 8.5 minute mark, he still doesn't have that support item stacked.
Yeah, Symphonic also walking over. I don't think you can really match this, mate. You got to sit your bum back now. Like at this point, this
Squig. I feel like I've seen this play before, but there's no blast conform this time. But
it's ulti, though.
6 now. There's the leap of faith, getting down all of the tentacle slaps onto Angry Present. He's got the soul there as well. But there's the Stormbreaker. But Squig fails to flash. Might look to get the trade onto Angry Present anyway. Here's Lada over the wall here to save his top laner. Flashes over the wall from ICGE, but he went the wrong direction. Squig is surviving with a sliver of HP, but Angry Present flashes forward to pick him up. Ty's got the ulti for his top laner. The Senna ulti's just a little too late. Glada goes unstoppable, but he might go down here. Somebody's gonna pick him up. Shutdown goal goes over to Ty, and Merciful Crow picks up ICGE in response.
That was as best of played as it could have been for Squig. Squig had a, for lack of a better term, an oh shit moment where I was like, what do I do now? And he just did the best thing he could do, stay alive as long as he could. Glada comes flying in like the horses of Gondor coming into support Rohan, hashtag Gandalf.
Right now.
At that point, you have to think, okay, what could you do? But trading going back and forth essentially does end up being slightly positive for DZG because they did end up getting that shutdown from Glada. I don't recall who it went on to. I would imagine it was. They did go to ICG. Okay, that was great for Swain because, as we all know, Swain ends up being a very heavy win condition for... Never mind, we're going at it again.
Glada's charging. Angry Present has the Sky Splitter, though, so he's got the shield on. Merciful Crow and Squig are rotating, but so are ICGE and Ty. And it looks like the fight just turns out to be nothing.
It's a first, isn't it? They've been fighting back and forth. But have you noticed something? Top, mid, and jungle on both teams have been very in sync on moving the moment they see someone else. The moment junglers have shown top lane, mid laners on both sides are moving very, very quickly. This tells us that both teams are on the same page, but because of the lead Conduit has right now, they just more or less saying, hey, we've got a little bit more of a gold lead. It's only about 1,500 as Glada comes in for...
Nice. Never moved to deny the charge. Still going to get the push back, but ICGE has the Visions of Empire as well. I think he's just going to be able to walk out of this one. Squig doesn't get the Test of Faith, so... No extra damage going on to ICGE, but that should probably give them the Rift Herald just with ICGE missing about half of his HP.
Yeah, and the gold lead that Conduit has right now, a lot of it, if not all of it, is on Glada currently. Like, he just has most of the gold as we have a little here. Glada about 900
for a Herald fight. Ty is trying to get some poke in. Angry Present is here. The bottom lane has rotated up for DZG. They want to make this play happen. The spike comes down. Glada picks that one up. But now the fight starts in earnest. Angry Present with the Sky Splitter coming down. ICG is taking out Swig. After the Leap of Faith comes down, Symphonic is surviving on a sliver of HP. Pops the shield for himself. Hello's here as well. It's a double kill for the Hecarim. He's just unkillable. Squig picks up Angry Present from beyond the grave. Ipsy is going to pick up ICG, and now Hello has to run all on his lonesome, but it's a triple kill for Glada. Hecarim is 8-1-3, 100% kill participation, and he is running a train on this game.
Never mind, this is Rohan running into the depths of Mordor, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. My guy Glada is just trampling over everyone right now. Over a 2k gold lead just on the jungler.
Yeah, and
Just purely on the jungle. Look at the bot lane difference. Billy Willard has just been farming up a storm. Like, what do you do if you're the side of DZG? You have to wait to be able to team fight, but you don't have the items or the resources to do so yet.
Yeah, not only is that play a disaster for the topside fight, but that was 4v5. DZG rotated up both of their bot laners, which meant Billy Willard just got to farm up bot lane even more than he already was, take 3 plates for himself, and now this Sivir is skyrocketing into a lead.
Yeah, but it's like we said at the beginning of the game, right? Squig, it does better in a deficit, and that's what almost every fight has been. Ilawi's been wherever Ilawi has been, they've always had one less number. That's good for you because you end up able to use your tentacles more effectively, especially with your ultimate. You're able to just continue to just sustain and be an absolute nuisance in all of these fights. The only redeeming hope DZG has right now is on Angry Presence. 3-3 and 2 as Squig gets pulled, not quite kidnapped.
Yeah, he's got the Mercury Treads now, so the Never Move and the Vision of Empire is going to be a little bit harder to connect. But as the Infernal Dragon gets picked up, it is going to be Cloud Soul. These are the dragons that got the biggest buff over the course of this patch. They're the ones that got the biggest changes, moving from 3.5% slow resistant out of speed combat up to 7%, and the Soul making a bigger buff as well.
Yeah, Soul, I believe, went up to 50% bonus move speed and 50% for 6 seconds after casting an ultimate. Hello? Who does Conduit has for casting move speed ultimates? Billy Willard and Glada. They're going to love getting this, and this is going to be a heavy priority going as we end up heading into the mid game.
Yeah, this could be a very early Cloud Soul into a very early Elder Dragon fight as well. While Cloud Soul isn't it's not the team fighting soul where you're like, oh, we have an Infernal Soul, we do so much damage, or we have a Mountain Soul, you can't even hurt us. Cloud Soul still has a lot of effects for people like Glada, for even people like Merciful Crow, just being able to cast your ulti and reposition well in a fight to get away from a Tahm Kench knockup, to run away from an Angry Bear, to get away from like double Zillion bombs. It's really, really powerful.
Yeah, it's just like we said at the beginning of the game, right? They want this movement speed. It's their win con, but it's also their go button. Glada is now able to go in and go even faster. If you've ever been in solo queue and you've seen a Hecarim who's 8-1 and 3, and my guy comes running at you, probably with usually Mobies or some form of Predator as well, that's terrifying, especially if you're an AD carry player. Hello is not going to have a good time with this, as this tower is slowly getting chunked out more by Conduits. I don't think this, maybe 2 to 3 more waves and this tower should be gone.
Yeah, it might even be on the next one if they choose to bring Glada down. Angry Present is showing in mid lane, but nice warding from Merciful Crow means that nothing's going to happen. Merciful Crow has completed that mythic for himself, whilst Ty has as well. It's the less gold efficient and cheaper to buy mythic, so the power is still in Merciful Crow's hands in the 1 versus 1 and in the 2 versus 2. Despite the power battle, Yipsy finds the binding. But again, they're just happy taking poke. They're forcing Hello to use all of his mana and just try to like survive under tower. It's not this position that Senna wants to be in.
I'm very curious to see what Hello's building into. I would assume that's the Kraken Slayer. Usually when you have the Tahm Kench ends up farming, your job is generally to do vision. So you would go Umbral Glaive, then into your Mythic. So I'll be very curious to see what Hello ends up building first as Billy Willard. This is like Senna of old days when she hits like an item in a bit. All you need to do is just, hey, I'm going to hit 300 CS and the game's over.
Yeah, I'm remembering way back when Jinair Teddy with his 900 CS Sivir game. I might have even been more than that because I think it was a 90-minute game. It might have been like 1400, something like that. A lot of CS. But yeah, that's what Sivir does. She loves to push in waves. She loves to just be aggressive. In terms of Senna items, I don't hate the Kraken Slayer here because Senna knows that she's going to be hitting the Alawi, going to be hitting the Hecarim, these people who are a bit tankier. And if DZG doesn't have some sort of auto attack based AD carry, some sort of Kraken Slayer AD carry, they don't really have consistent damage outside of the Swain.
Yeah, that's one thing, but then if you look at Umbral as Ipsy ends up hitting another binding, and my guy's barely missed right now. Look at the amount of vision that Conduit has on the bot side of the jungle. Even though Dragon's up in minute 30 and DZG's starting to clear it up, that bot side is kind of lit up like a Christmas tree. Because they know what their win con is right now. They want these Drakes to be able to just enable them to move even quicker, to be able to not only catch but even potentially disengage DZG as well. As Squig ends up...
ICGE is gonna pop the Demonic Ascension, trying to get damage down on the Squig. He does have his first item. Squig is out of mana though. ICGE could definitely continue this fight, but he's gonna choose to walk away. I don't think he had vision of Glada. I think he just wasn't fully confident about taking that fight.
That was actually smart though, because remember the last 4 times, I think, we've had a fight top lane. Glada's been there first. ahead of anyone else has collapsed on either side. Glada has always been there first. So that could have been a bait by Squig to say, hey, come chase me. I'm one tentacle short of an Opticus. Oh, wait, My Little Pony is here to save my ass.
Yeah, it was a really nice just top lane sense from ICGE. If you play the role enough, you just get a sense of, the enemy jungler might be here. I'm just going to walk away this time. Sometimes you're wrong, but a lot of times you're right.
Yeah, as we see the first item coming through on both teams right now, I am curious. ICG did not choose to go the Rylai's first. It tends to be more popular, I would assume, in other lanes, but ends up going to the Leandri's first item. I would imagine second item is going to be Leandri, just because it's so good on Swain as a whole. We're seeing the imitations of a Fnatic Deathbrush. Top news for you guys, this did not work today. Don't do it. Go do something else.
Yeah, I think DZG is actually just going to take the trade on the top side. They know that they can't fight this dragon right now, especially with all 5 members of Conduit being off the map and out of vision. So they're just going to say, hey, you guys can have that dragon. It's soul point, but it's not the soul yet. We can take the next fight. We'll just take Herald instead.
Yep, and this is putting them on soul point. So after the next 5 minutes, they're going to want to say, hey, you'll either have fortune to fight us, or this is going to be a free soul for us, as second Herald will be going down over to DZG. There you go. But the rest of the team may want to... Never mind.
Yeah, this is just a...
Run at them.
This is just a run away fast situation for DZG. They don't want to take this fight right now. If you didn't want to take it at the Dragon Pit, you don't want to take it after you've already taken damage from the Herald.
And this was smart by Conduit to just slowly back up, and I would assume since Billy Wood now is at an item and a half, second item seemingly will be Phantom Dancer. The Sivir waves don't exist in her face at this point. Like, it's just...
Yeah, the changes to her W are so nice for Sivir. Just the fact that you can have more than 3 bouncing and they can bounce potentially infinitely, it makes her feel much smoother.
Yeah, but I think the nice... Personally, as an AD carry main, I'm glad that she's gone back to crit. I hated poke Sivir.
Yeah.
Because once we get after 20 minutes, it's like, hey, if I'm against tanks, I'm kind of useless.
Yeah, I'm as much as I appreciate build diversity being potentially there for some champions, Lethality Sivir wasn't it. The only reason that you built it is because crit was impossible for you to run.
Monica is just going to come back up to mid lane here. I'm just going to... Oh, never mind, gets rooted.
Yeah, just gonna eat the binding. That's the Morgana experience. I do like that Ipsy has first item rush to the Zhonya's. Sometimes you'll see Morganas go a bit greedier, try to get their mythic item first, whether it's something like the Everfrost or the Leandri's Torment, depending on what they're looking for. But I think the Zhonya's just provides so much extra utility for Morgana and allows her to be there more in the front line and exist more as, like, a peel, as opposed to just, hey, I'm gonna do a bit of extra damage and hopefully throw a black shield that sticks.
As Symphonic eats another binding here, Ipsy has been on point, and Squig has nailed at least the last 5 tentacles he's tried to pull.
Yeah, I was about to say Squig has been on it as well. This is now this is the time when the lane turns around for Alawi, because suddenly you have the mana pool to say, hey, I can throw a couple of Test of Spirits your way. You better succeed.
But saying that at top point, there was, I counted at least 4 tentacles that were up against the walls. As Glad is now saying, oh, this is the next tower it's going to go down, but is caught by some vision.
Yeah, ICGE smart to just rotate off that one. Does not want to get caught in a 2 versus 1. Despite the fact that he's Swain, he's not Omega Swain just yet.
Yeah, that Rylai's needs to come through first as well as a little bit of resistances, purely because Conduit has a ton of damage on their side right now, as both mid and top are here. Hello and Symphonic kind of need to dip, because this not only was this tower not long for the world, if they decided to stay under that and the tower even stayed, you will die. As we see by production putting it into the Twitch chat right now, 63 souls at 20 minutes for Hello. Generally, rule of thumb is you want to get to 60 souls on center, because that's when you start being effective. Has not spent any money in quite a while as well. Production, if we're able to get a view on that, thank you very much. It's only at 1,000, so it's still pretty heavily short as to getting that Kraken, and that's the problem when you go just straight for your mythic item. First item is you're delaying your power spike by such a heavy amount because you don't farm, you don't get a lot of the gold, and unfortunately Hello's not been able to siphon a lot of gold because of the sickle as well. We see Ipsy coming in just putting a ton of vision, prep vision down on this bot side of the jungle. Drake is up in the next minute and a half. This is going to be a big fight if DZG decides to push in for this though.
I mean, they kind of have to. They can't give up Cloud Soul into this comp. Glada, Merciful Crow, and Billy Willard will just run the rest of the game. You won't be able to exist. The thing that worries me right now is that Rift Herald on Angry Present is running out fairly soon. I think that's about like 20, 30 seconds left on it, if that long. They have to make something happen with it. And it looks like they're potentially... They might even just be looking to ignore the Dragon Soul entirely and try and just make a punish on Squig.
Squig!
But this is where Alawi thrives. She's in the 1 versus 4. There's the leap of faith. She's getting crowd controlled up, but she's taking plenty of time to go down. The Dawning Shadow comes through. Angry President is going to pick up that kill. The Dragon's up in 45 seconds, so potentially DZG can rotate down. Looks like Conduit is actually not looking to just prep for the Dragon. They're looking to make a response play. Herald is going to take that first tower. Cloud and Ipsy's here. Here's the teleport from Ty. Looks like we're going to have a big 5 versus 3 as Merciful Crow has teleport, but is opting to not use it. He's just staying on the bottom side, happily split pushing. Ty is going to get caught by the binding. Another bind from Ipsy, but the Black Shield is good. Going to keep him alive. Glad is in the bush. He's just waiting, but he takes the double bomb. But this is a tanky hacker. He has to use the devastating charge to get himself out of there. No onslaught of shadows for him just yet. Billy Willard gets pulled back. The Herald got the second charge. But that's really it. But that's still the winning trade for DZG.
Yeah, they committed a lot to this and also forced Conduit to say, hey, you need to answer us. Even though we got a TP coming in from Squig, going straight to Drake. This should be a free Drake because Glada's already there. DZG is probably not going to be able to match this just because of how low health Angry President is right now as well. This is going to be gone. I don't think they can do this. I would say commit to maybe something else, potentially Baron, because they knew they were going to go down there. But this is just a free soul given over to Conduit.
Yeah, it's Cloud Soul again. It's not the kind of soul where you can. It's impossible to fight into. It's not like it's not a Hextech, a mountain. It's not one of these in combat ridiculously insanely strong ones. But when you look at Hecarim, you look at Sivir, you look at Victor. Movement speed doesn't hurt. You're generally pretty happy to see those.
Hey, even Morgana with the Soul Shackles, right? Once she ends up running in, presses, oh, hey, guess what? I can get further ahead into your team and still Zhonya's and still potentially root more people there. DZG, I think that was a good idea from them to say, hey, not only can we just put Squig further behind, but to say, hey, we can at least get some gold back into our pockets as well. Maybe they were doing that to force Conduit to say, hey, you need to come answer us instead of doing the Drake. Unfortunately, they still ended up getting the soul. If you're the side of DZG, though, you've been 5k behind for the past 6 minutes. It's not ballooned out of control. It's still there. And teamfight, while Conduit is still stronger item set-wise, DZG's comp does better within a team fight, generally speaking, especially if they're able to get Squig caught off again. Because if they do that, we saw how long the Alawi lasted in that top lane, probably a lot longer than she should have, we're being fairly honest here.
Yeah. You're
able to fight a little bit longer, and as we said, the longer these fights go on, generally speaking, the better it is for DZG.
Yeah, I think you made it perfect. Made a perfect point there. The longer the fight, the better. With champions like Swain, like Zillion, like Senna, if the fight lasts for a while, you get your healing stacked up, you get your extra shielding, you can extend the fight to have your resources be at their most valuable, while Sivir's also going to be stacking up, while Victor also likes longer fights. Hecarim wants to do one charge and end the fight. Morgana wants to hit one binding and have the fight be over. Alawi likes extended fights, but if she's in the team fight, not on the sideline, I think it's slightly less effective for her.
Yeah, you also put that right correct as well. It's Hecarim goes in, does his thing, is like, peace, bro, I'm dipping, fam. I can't do anything else at this point. Given though Hecarim is at 3 items, it's still one-dimensional for what Hecarim wants to do. You know that Hecarim wants to go in and charging, kind of like a Nautilus hook, as Squig is
just walking forward menacingly.
He's moving!
He's so fast with the Cloud Soul on the Cloud of Rift. ICGE is just caught out and deleted. No existence for him. That's going to be the DZG top laner gone, and the Baron is up. Glad not going straight to it, but I think the rest of Conduit is just saying, yeah, we're taking the Baron.
You ever seen Morgana move so bloody fast before? She charged in nearly as fast as Glada did, as Merciful Crow's in trouble now.
Yeah, he has the teleport, has flash. He might be able to make his way out of here, but there's the double bomb into the Angry Present stun. The Zhonya's is there to delay for a little bit more time, just to make sure the Baron buff comes through, but Merciful Crow, your Baron buff is going to be gone. Angry Present is going to take another kill for himself.
Okay, gold has slowly started increasing upwards, though, but DZG, if they end up taking this bot tower, will get a little bit back in their pockets. We've grown from 6 to 7k now. It's slowly getting out of their hands. Big thing, though, Hello has now completed Kraken Slayer, so I would imagine, hey, you're going to do a fair amount of damage. If we can get a soul check on the Senna, please, as we're closing in on 27 minutes. Senna will, eventually, should the game go on long enough, will be a factor that Conduit are going to be keeping their eye on.
Yes, and it has 86 souls right now. She's approaching that 100 barrier where she gets that big range increase, but she's already gotten a few of them. She should be outranging Sivir by, I think, at least 180 at this point. So if you get into a straight-up 1 versus 1 with Sivir, you might even, with an item disadvantage, be able to win that. It's not likely, but it means that Hello is going to have more utility to provide in these fights.
Yeah, it's true, but also on the other side, Billy Woodard, I mean, my guy he heard you, and was like, nah, man, I'm gonna buy a full LDR while you're talking. Because, you know, yeah. I heard what you said, commentators cursed and all that good stuff. Sivir is strong, man. Like, this chick is gonna hurt. Especially with how many bounces that she gets off the W now as well. Fun fact, if the first one crits, the rest of the ones that boomerang ends up going to end up critting as well. She is at 60% crit at this point. The last thing she needs is an IE, and Bob's your uncle job done at that point.
Yeah, about 2 out of every 3 times, Billy Willard is going to be critting, and the siege begins. They've seen Billy Willard just walking forward without a care in the world. They know they have the Cloud Soul behind them. They can maneuver so easily. Symphonic has the Test of Spirit on him, but it's Tom Kench. He's going to be fine with that. He's just going to get his soul pulled again. MC
there we go.
The Black Shield on himself, though. Glad is on the side, though, just to make sure that there's no potential engage from DZG. And yeah, this is the siege with Baron buff, with Sivir Morgana. Another Tested Spirit. Squig is not missing these, and it's so much damage that DZG has to try and negate for themselves. Look at how far back they have to stand when they're trying to clear the tower. The tower's gone. Now 1 cannon minion just sieging down their base. It's so difficult for them to walk up into this Conduit comp.
Yeah, but also vice versa as well. DZG did a great job of just holding them back as long as they could, knowing that, hey, we're going to have to concede this tower, but let's take as much time as we can, because where does Conduit go now? They don't have any other objectives to take. They took, what, 2 towers, or was it the 1 tower mid? That's it. With Elder coming up in 42 seconds, though, they have the Baron recall to be able to get back to base quicker and be able to get more items into their pockets. DZG are going to have to see this and say, you know what, this is the one we have to fight. We're okay giving soul, but you can't let this go at this point.
If you let the Elder go, there is no chance of you being able to win a fight. The Baron's up in 3 minutes, so you can't even, like, make a cross-map trade to say, hey, you guys take Elder, we'll take Baron, we'll stall out your Elder. No, you don't have the chance to do that. You have to fight this Elder Dragon. As much as you really don't want to into this 9-1 Hecarim, who's about to hit his 4th item, you don't have a choice. You have to make it happen.
If you're DZG, you think, how do you do it? Oh, here we go, never mind.
That's in! A beautiful ult on Shadows to find 4 fears, but the rest of the team follow-up isn't there just yet. DZG Hello gets taken down. Symphonic is the next to fall, and the fight is already over. Anger Present tries to Stormbreaker his way out, but Merciful Crow picks up 2 for himself. Squig is gonna find that one, and Ty, poor Ty, left on his lonesome. It's an ace for Conduit, and that's gonna be game 1.
You would have thought they had Ocean Drake. No one lost any health. Yipsy was the only one who kind of lost some health that fight, but that was very, very well played, particularly by Glada. Got in 4 fears. Hello burned down near everything to be able to get as far back as he could, but it just wasn't enough. That just ends up DZG losing the first game, with this going over to Conduit.
Yeah, AD carry without flash. Hecarim sees that. His eyes are glowing red. He wants to go in, and he found the engage. It looked really good.
Yeah, at this point you have to think, if you're the side of DZG, you think, okay, Hecarim was in all honesty, truly, the only reason why the game got out of hand, right? If the Hecarim didn't get as far back as far ahead as he did, you think, all right, maybe we had a better chance. Swain, look at the top lane, still had very comparable damage numbers to Glada. Squig, I bet you there was just like 2 team fights where he did all of his damage. Yeah. Unfortunately, DZG did not get the time to scale. And that's something that Conduit did really well, is they understood, hey, the longer this game goes on, the better it is for DZG. Let's just force them to fight us, especially while they were behind. I believe at that Drake fight, they were 8k behind at that point. You're forcing it to say, hey, we don't even want the Elder. We're just going to trample all over you and then just end the game.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where we as casters can see the gold lead, while the players can't. You can feel how far ahead you are in the game. You can tell, like, hey, we have a big lead. We just want to force his fight. You hit tab, you look at just the item difference between Billy and Hello, and you can see that you are far ahead in this game.
Yeah,
But we can see even from the damage numbers, like it wasn't a heavy fighting game. It was just a couple of scrappy exchanges and a couple of big fights that really ended up turning the game for Conduit.
Yeah, one thing I do want to see from DZG next hand, and this is kind of like their sister team Olympus does, is play something that's more aggressive in the bot lane. It's generally where they play well. Play something that they can have a little bit more agency, where they can say, hey, we can contest the fights at most points of the game. If they're able to do that, I do think that they will be able to match exactly what Conduit does, as DZG so far this season has been a very, very good team fighting team. They want to get out of laning phase and fight together as 5. If they're able to fully put a comp around that doesn't take as long to scale, I do think next game can switch the other way.
Yeah, speaking of next game, we are going to take a short break before we hop into the draft for game 2. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the calm before the storm. Things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing. Did you think you could keep us out? Shut the gates, forget us now. The tides are changing. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not backing down on what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? We're the revolution. With the ground beneath your feet, with a whisper in the trees. Do you feel us watching? Hunger in our eyes, victories on our minds. It's our time to rise. Can you hear the sound? Can't stop us now. We're not backing down on what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound? We're the revolution. We're not backing down on what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Wherever we go, we'll always know. From the highest mountain to the bottom of the ocean, yeah. Our song is running like a river. Let the current take us there. We've got the melody to set us free, singing destiny. We've got the melody to set us free, singing destiny. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away.
Can't stay in my feet. What am I gonna do? If I really want you, but you're my baby, break my mind and take. But you have the key, so open my please. I can't stay in my feet.
Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the delay. We are now getting ourselves into game number 2 of Conduit Esports Kraken versus DZG Elysium. Again, I am Whatdebrudi, and again, joining me is Morpheus.
And again, we've been waiting on CJ. Hurry your ass up, boy, as we get into game 2. The Zeri coming off the table for Conduit, as well as the Lilia being taken off the board by DZG. I believe same bans as the first game. Wukong quickly taken off, though.
Conduit Esports did not ban away the Zeri last game. The Zeri seems to be a chitin special for DZG, so they didn't want to ban it away in game 1, as they did have their substitute tie-in, but the Lilia and the Wukong are staying the same.
Yeah, they let the Seraphine and the Viego are still up for the time being. Fun fact for those who didn't know, Kaiten is a kind of a big brainer when it comes to AP Zeri mid. If you tuned in last week, you would have seen why, because that chick does way too much damage. As Siobhan is now taken off the board by DZG. So the same 2 bans from DZG are continued the same. Now, if you're the side of Conduit, what do you end up taking? You take off the Viego, which leaves the Seraphine up. Now, does DZG ban this instead of the Anivia, or do they take the Seraphine off the table and let them have the Anivia?
There's 2 important things that I need to note in this draft
Never mind.
phase. There we go. One of them is off the table. The fact that both Hecarim and Sivir were open and available, and there's the Seraphine as well. Sivir is still available if DZG want to take that, if it is something that they believe that they can have Hello Pilot in the bottom side. But already having Seraphine is a good start for Conduit.
Yeah, Sivir, I think, is just the best AD carry that you can play right now. You could just pair it with so many things. It does so much stuff for your team. She shells out a ton of damage, as we saw that game as well, even though there wasn't a lot of fighting to be said. So I would imagine the Sivir comes through for Hello, unless they wanted to pick something else. No, there you go. Now, the nice thing about Sivir is that she can pair up with a lot of different supports. Renata, for one, if you wanted to have a little bit of that classic disengage. Braum as well. Braum is something that we've seen into the Seraphine because the shield blocks the ultimates. I would imagine that if they know where this Seraphine is going, they may just want to take the counter for it either now or on R3 before they get into the next round of bans.
Yeah, just to make sure that support pool doesn't get pinched too far. But like you said, Sivir does have a lot of support pairings that she can match with. It's just going to be a matter of what DZG wants to throw it with. But we are going to see the Diana, which a lot of times you would be seeing in the jungle. But I think this is another Chitin special, so I wouldn't be shocked if we saw this one going into mid.
I wouldn't be surprised either. This is something that CJ, as their coach, is something who is very keen on as well. Just ends up throwing Diana into a multitude of things, and it ends up working most of the time. Misfortune, if this comes in, I would strongly assume this will be an MF and Seraphine bot lane. You have the setup with the slows for both Seraphine and Misfortune, allowing you to have the ultimates for both being able to come in and cast a heavy amount of damage. Knowing what that would be there, I would imagine next pick is trying to say, hey, do we either blind it Elena here, or do they just try and think, where does a Diana go and pick a counter into it?
Now, the big brain part of the draft here, in my head, makes me think, okay, you send the Seraphine mid lane, and you pick away the Braum here, so the DZG can't have a wind wall unless they're going to take the Yasuo. But instead, they're going to look for the denial into the Diana, they're going to take away the Poppy. Poppy's a strong jungler right now. She's really good, and especially into champions like Diana who want to dash in, get to your backline. You can just hit it with the steadfast present, and as Poppy says, nope.
I actually didn't know she says nope. I don't recall hearing that line. It is commonly said, if you watch LCK and LEC, that Poppy is considered the best jungle in the game purely because of that steadfast present. She doesn't need a lot of gold. She doesn't need a lot of resources, so you're able to funnel money into somewhere else. As the Renata, as we mentioned earlier, comes in for the Sivir. Poppy is just considered one of the, if not the best jungler as you can have. Again, purely because, like you said, you can stop the dashes from coming in. And many of the champions right now are dash reliant. They want to move around. So things like the Ahri, if that wanted to go mid, are not going to be an option here for DZG, as the Alawi, no surprise, is taken off the table.
Yeah, given Squeak's performance in Game 1, not too surprising to see that banned away. But not only that, a couple patches ago, Poppy got a pretty sizable buff to the Keeper's Verdict, her ultimate as well, allowing her to launch a bit farther and a bit faster, which means that it's going to be harder when you do get that ultimate off for the enemy team to get back into the fight, which can make for some really good pick opportunities.
Yeah, I think we're going to get another round of top lane bans here, as ICGE and Squid going to be like, hey, let's go from round 2 of Mortal Kombat. Elawi coming off the table. If we look at compared to what it was in Game 1, the Graves, Trundle, and Olaf are still up, which means that one of them may come off the table. The Olaf is off the table, and that was a very quick Yone ban. I'm surprised they didn't ban the Vayne. Vayne is something ICG has loved playing over the past few weeks. I would assume they would save top lane for R5 on DZG. This will give us the idea of what comes R4 here as to whether Diana goes into Angry Present or Chitin's hands.
Yeah, there is still the potential for a Diana-Yasuo combo if they do want to send Diana into the jungle. The Yone ban is like it's the discount Diana-Yasuo. It kind of works. But it looks like actually they're going to take the Sejuani as the blind top laner and save that flexibility for the Diana for that R5.
You know what? Knowing DZG, this is a Sejuani jungle and a Diana mid. These guys can go anywhere at this point. But yes, I would assume this is a Sejuani going top lane.
Yeah, and we've seen ICGE perform really well on the Sejuani top as well. If you've also watched the LCS Sejuani top, in that region, at the very least, one of the best top laners right now, just because of her tankiness. She can take TP Ignite, and she feels very confident to do so. And it looks like we are getting confirmation that the Seraphine is most likely going into the mid lane, as that is Morgana locked in for Conduit.
Another Morgana coming in for Game 2. Played really well. Game 1, Ipsy did a fantastic job of the Morgana, landing binding after binding. So, again, wouldn't be a surprise if that ends up coming through down there, because sending Morgana blind mid is just, no. You just don't do that.
That's a Kench hover, potentially for the top side. Yeah, that's locked in. Okay, now hear me out. Hear me out. Morgana's in the jungle. Poppy's in the top lane, and it's Misfortune TK bot lane.
I'll bet you a whole DZG dollar that doesn't happen. If you're familiar with fighting games and you buy some bucks, I'm making my own thing right here.
Look, it's a bit of a stretch, but the flexibility is there. Conduit Esports has again, as they've put themselves together, a really nice burst team fighting comp. The combination of the Seraphine and the Misfortune ultis do so much, and that sticks lock in for DZG. I've been hearing talk from a lot of casters and from a lot of esports analysts that Fiddlesticks is one of the best junglers in the game right now. Now, granted, I haven't seen it at all, but I've heard a lot of talk, so I'm excited to see it.
Fun fact, Poppy can't stop Fiddles going in. Like, because it's a blink. It's a one-frame move, so... It's a four-frame move, sorry. So at that point, you think, okay, like, how do I stop the Fiddlesticks from running into my team when I've got a Sejuani and a Diana running in and a Sivir enabling everyone else to run at me as well? It's the shoe's kind of on the other foot with DZG now saying we're going to run into you. Fiddlesticks also is one of the few champions, as you mentioned in Game 1, that can fully clear camps by himself. Doesn't technically need a leash. So if DZG ends up playing into those shoes, you have to think, okay, can we just blind where this Fiddlesticks will start, keeping Conduit guessing on where they'll be?
I would really like for Conduit in the first part of this game, as opposed to what we saw in Game 1, where they had the very respectful 5-point. I want to see them not even invade to like try and find a kill, but just invade to get a ward down on one of these camps, either the Raptors or the Wolves, maybe even on the blue buff, just to look for that information so they know for certain where Fiddlesticks is starting. Because if Poppy can get to him inside the jungle, generally Poppy should be not winning, but if she has a lane to rotate with her, it's an easy pick because Fiddlesticks doesn't have mobility. You'll burn a flash, or at the very least, kill him in his own jungle.
Correct, yeah. You don't want to fight 1v1 against the Boppy early because you just won't win it. Again, this goes back to what DZG is tried and true and tested for them. They love their team fighting. Fiddlesticks coming into this team just kind of rounds out all the damage that they need. They've got a ton of CC with it. It's AoE, kind of think of it like a pseudo Swain, almost, because Swain kind of does the same thing with his ultimate, but Fiddlesticks obviously has the fear about it. You don't want to fight the Boppy early, but once you get into a team fight setting, you're going to tell the Boppy, you know, that's a nice hammer, check out my Crowstorm, mate.
Yeah, as long as Poppy doesn't get the insta-bonk out, which I suppose can happen if Poppy's really, really on it and they have vision of the Fiddlesticks, you can just verdict him immediately out as he lands, but that's a miracle situation for the Poppy. A lot of times Fiddlesticks is coming in, no vision, gets that multi-man fear, sets up the Moonfall for Diana, throws some Sivir damage and a Glacial Prison on top of that, and nobody gets to play the game.
As long as DZG doesn't give him 3 kills again early lane, right? As long as that don't happen again.
Yeah,
don't give Glad another fed lane, mate. If you happen that, then it's gonna be kind of hard for you to get back into it.
I will say, if you're gonna give someone 3 kills in this game, in the early game, it's probably Poppy's the best result. Like we were talking about earlier, Poppy is a very low economy jungler. She's not someone who really needs a lot of like farming and a lot of items to do what she wants to do. So having 3 kills on her doesn't do a ton.
This is true, but you'd rather, because she is so low resource, she's still able to do what she wants, whether she has the resources or not.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why you would ideally like, I mean, let's say for argument's sake, if Squid gets 3 kills early, you ain't killing TK no matter what you throw. Yeah, no one on the chat until Civic gets LDR, which usually wouldn't be at the earliest 3rd, because you tend to go Kraken PD 2nd. You're not killing him. So Anglada can still be just as effective on Poppy without the gold. I expect DZG to maybe sit back a little bit more, maybe not be as aggro as early on, purely to make sure that they don't hand over such a big swing to one person in the early game again, though.
Yeah, I do really like both these comps. I think both these teams have a draft that is in their own style, and the draft where they're both saying, hey, we're pretty happy with what we got out of this draft. We for DZG, you have the Renata Sivir combo, which is a really strong bottom lane. You have Diana plus Fiddlesticks, which is an insane mid-jungle 2v2 post-level 6. But when you're looking at Conduit, you've got Seraphine Misfortune. You have a really beefy front line in front of Seraphine Misfortune. You're happy with what you have.
Yeah, this is where Glada and Squig have very, very big jobs here, and making sure that Angry Present and Chitin have no way of getting to that backline. Because once they get through to it, if you're having to put your focus upon Angry Present and Chitin being back there, hello, no pun intended, is able to just free fire across front and back line because of the ricochet as well. And you have Symphonic on Renato, who obviously as the game goes longer, that ultimate just gets more and more annoying and oppressive. But I'm really excited to see what happens game 2 here, though.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Now, Morpheus, I've got to ask, have you had a lot of time to play League recently? I know you've been busy like doing stuff at the gym, with DJing, with casting. Have you had a lot of time to play League recently?
I wish I did, but I don't have quite the energy for it, though.
Well, you might not have the energy for it. I think if you want to get back into League and you're looking to, like, top up your skills a little bit, you can come to our second sponsor of tonight, Metafy, as DZG is proud to be sponsored by them. Metafy is a gaming coaching service that will help you find the right coach that you need to help you reach your goals. Not Dreadzone, Metafy has plenty of coaching opportunities with games like Valorant, Rocket League, and League of Legends, among a handful of other games if those aren't to your flavor. Prices will vary between coaches, etc., etc., but if you use the link below that is in chat right now, and you'll get $10 of credit after completing your first booking, and then you can start your climb to get your dream rank today. We'll be right back after this really quick break as we wait for the spectator delay to get into game 2. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right here. We are back for Game 2 of Conduit Esports Kraken versus DZG Gaming Elysium. And already, Conduit is listening to my advice, and they're going to look to get some early positioning in this early game.
Now, if DZG catches this, and they've been training properly, the moment they see 5 of them here, Angry President and ICGE should be going into the enemy jungle and placing vision down, because Hello is not going to take spell shot here, as he's now seen them, but they end up moving down a little bit, as Symphonic's done this before. Just walk away, mate. Just walk away. EZG, why don't you go get a ward?
No. Symphonic is going to get his Guardian pops. Glad it doesn't have any sort of gap closing, so it is just going to be a little bit of extra damage and a mana flip proc for Billy Willard. Some extra tier stacks on him. And ICGE does listen to you and does get his own ward down on the enemy blue buff.
I'm so glad he listened, because no one does this in gold or plat. When you see the team coming into your jungle, Hello, go into their jungle and place some bloody vision down. But that's happy to see, because they're going to see, hey, where does Glada start? Whereas on the other side, they're not going to know. They may have an idea as to where Angry President will be starting, but they won't have exact vision of where he'll be starting up.
Yeah, it looks like Angry President is going to accept the leash, though, so Hello and Symphonic will be a little late to lane, which will give Ipsy and Billy Willard a general idea that the Fiddlesticks will be starting on the bottom side, but Angry President should be happy to just farm up these camps as he pleases, because this is what Fiddlesticks does. He takes 2 camps, sticks them together, and just does the suck.
Giggity? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So So this is good for Fiddles though, because the biggest thing, like you said, is having the vision on the jungler to knowing where they are, because you don't really want to be interacting with them, in particularly during this early game, as we're just going to have a wet noodle fight top lane, even though there's no allow here. These guys are just going to be trading back and forth. Now, if you're on the side of Conduit, you have 2 Comet users bot lane. You are going to be using, just like you've seen there, Billy Willard's going to be using the Make It Rain, and then Ipsy will be using the Dark Binding as often as they can to just try and get enough poke out there to try and force them out of lane, as they both hit 2.
Both hit 2, the supports both whiff, but Symphonic getting plenty of autos into Billy Willard is going to force a potion out of him. Some good poke early from Symphonic, but I'm a little surprised to see that he has the bone plating in this lane as opposed to the second wind. I know both of these runes just got nerfed, but with the amount of poke that you're into, second wind is just infinite value.
I would think so as well, but maybe it's just, again, going down to the whole team fighting thing of what they would want to show. But I do agree. Second win probably would have been better here as far as the primary tree goes. As Symfonic's eating a lot of damage here. It's
plenty of damage. Binding doesn't land. Hello. Gonna be able to walk away, but Symphonic loses his flash, which is pretty important for the Renata in this early game.
You know, if that was my solo queue games, Mans would have gotten hit by that. Never mind.
Oh. Angry Present gets caught. A nice fear, but Merciful Crow has the double beat over the wall. Here comes the stuff from Fiddle, but no, Glada gets the last auto in first blood. Glada is ignited. Chitin is trying to get the trade back in any way possible. Getting the autos in, but a nice charge from Glada. There's the Q. Chitin dashes in and gets the turn kill. Glada picks up the double kill for himself. I'm getting a sense of deja vu from our first game, but it's still a trade back for Chitin.
What did I tell you, boys? Don't give kills over to Glada. You've given him 2 already, but there was a nice response. As what we said though is Angry President didn't want to find his way into Glada because, just like you said, Fiddles into a Poppy does not do quite well early or even to mid game, because Poppy just tends to get through everything. As even though Angry President has picked up the blasting one, Glada has picked up the Ruby Crystal, some shoes. He's got some brown paper bags right now, and a Sheen as well. This Poppy is already far and away running with this.
Yeah, Poppy's gonna be really happy to get. Oh, Gladys gonna steal!
Oh
no! The early Scuttle Crab would force Angry President to flash away, as a nice rotate from Billy Willard and the Yipsy means that Fiddlesticks has no more flash.
Yeah, that's a feel bad man moment right there.
Yeah, Angry President had. I'm fairly certain that he had Smite there. He may have used it to take the shield off of the Scuttle, but I don't know. That felt like a situation where it was just a bit greedy.
I think it was a good tracking on Glada's side as well, because you thought, okay, I've already killed him top side. What is up that they can potentially take? It is going to be, pardon me, the Scuttler. So Glada's thinking, you know what, I could just go there and see if he's there, and if he is, I can still find him 1v1, because what is he going to do? No matter what Glada came back with, he'd still be able to beat him 1v1. This Poppy is already, by far and away, taking off. Chitin did get 1 kill back, which was good, because not every lane is behind. Top lane though, we haven't really paid much attention here. ICGE has been farming a little bit better. It's about a wave up on Squig right now. I do expect Glada to come top lane at some point, even though it's hovering around the top side jungle right now, purely because the setup that TK has is actually pretty darn good into Sejuani. I do want to point one thing out. Sejuani did, ICGE did not take flash. My guy took TP Ignite like he's playing Camille. This is a kill lane. He's gonna want Angry President to come up here and say, "Hey, how much can we kill Squig again over and over?"
Yeah, this is the Sejuani special. You take TP Ignite, you take advantage of that E, just the fact that it does so much damage in the early game. A lot of people aren't expecting how much damage Sejuani's actually able to put out with the grass procs, with her W, and just all of the upfront burst that she has. When you hit level 6 and you get those 2 stuns in a row, you could take out 2/3, maybe even like 3/4 of someone's health bar.
I saw Angry President was backing, but now is finding his way mid. Merciful Crow is... Oh, I guess not. I would have thought he would go bot here, because that just looks like a free gank setup bot lane. They are so... Bot lane of DZG is so far pushed under their tower. You would think that maybe I could just come there and help break anything else.
The Moonfall is not going to find its target, which means Merciful Crow is going to get to walk out. I like the attempt, though. They knew Chitin was 6 soon, so that's why Angry President was sticking around, just looking...
Oh, Symphonic!
Symphonic gets caught. He gets pulled back by the handshake, though. The Ignite is down on Symphonic. He's ticking, but he's got the health potion, so he's going to be okay. Glada now up here on the top side. A nice stun from Squig. ICGE is taking so much damage. Glada's stunned at her tower, but he's going to be able to walk away. Squig is going to eat him up just to make sure he doesn't die. A nice gank from Glada.
Man, but how bloody big was that shield? That shield that Glada got from the Squig ultimate was silly. Fun fact though, Symphonic, if Billy Willard had ultimate at that point, Symphonic was dead. Like,
100%.
Renata early just has no resistances. She is very, very squishy. Game 2, Conduit is kind of continuing what they did from Game 1 and trying to snowball the early game as best they can. Glada has 3 kills again. I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, a little case of deja vu, but I like this invade from Angry Present as he knew that Glada was taking a recall on the top side. It's going to take him a minute to get back to his bottom side, so he's going to lose his Raptors and his red buff, which is a good invade.
Glada's now realizing there's a Scarecrow in my jungle, mate. And he's realized a lot of his camps are gone. So if you're Glada, you're thinking, well, what's the best thing I can do? I can't really gank mid. I can't gank bot because no one's there. Maybe I'll just try to dragon, and I believe they have started it.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to start up the dragon here, if not just start to clear out vision. Yeah, they are taking the dragon. They did have to clear out a ward to actually do this, so DZG should know that this is happening, or at the very least have an inkling that this is happening, but they are just going to give it. It's going to be a first Infernal Dragon over to Conduit.
Yeah, I would imagine they want to put a little bit of attention up into ICGE's hands, maybe look at to where, since top lane has advantage. Oh, never mind. We have
Hello and Symphonic. You knew that Glada was down here. You knew he had flash. Nice flash away from Hello alongside that spell shield means that they are going to be able to get away, but that's both flashes burned from the DZG bot laners.
Great spell shield by Hello as well to eat the binding from Yipsy because of that wasn't able to really chase up with anything afterwards. Eats another one there, but you know, really good way of being able to use a spell shield there. We know one thing: Angry President is 6 now. Does have access to the ultimate
on Glada, plus the extra bit of damage from that Fiddlesticks Q, but they're just gonna walk away. You can see the item disparity in the jungle right now. I think Angry President is probably sitting on a decent amount of money. He hasn't backed since he died, so should be farming up those topside camps and then getting himself a recall.
Yeah, production, can we see how much gold Angry Present has right now? We can get a better idea. Has 1,400 in the pocket, so can either go for pen boots. I would assume he's going to want to finish off that first item. Zhonya's is something that generally Fiddlesticks they love to build because you're always in the middle of the team. But I would imagine it would be the Andrews that they would end up going for first. There is a fair amount of healing on both sides, so I would imagine that anti-heal may come in at some point, as unfortunately Hello did miss the cannon. Don't worry, no one saw that.
No one saw it. It wasn't on camera. You're fine. But I think with the specifically the blasting wand in inventory, I wonder if Angry Present is just going to be looking to get the Hextech Rocket Belt as fast as possible. I'm fairly certain that Rock Belt's build path has the blasting wand in it, and I've seen it from Fiddlestickses who like to be a little bit more aggressive and do a little bit more damage with their builds.
Titan, you're in trouble, my friend.
Getting caught out, but so is Squig. It looks like it's actually going to be rotating down, but there's a fight in the top side as well. That's the Eat.
Kind of still alive.
Kraken is making the fight happen in mid lane. He's waiting for that second dash. There's a flash over the wall from Angry Present with the Crow Storm. ICG is fighting it out with Squig. They're both on 0 HP. Glada's flashing forward. He's going to be able to pick up Chitin, but I don't think he's going to be able to escape. He's got the shield for himself, and now the black shield from Ipsy as well. Great rotate. The bind flash forward comes through, but the Fiddlesticks is sucking, but the Ignite is ticking him away. The buffs are going to come through over to Ipsy, but that is a 2 for 2. In the mid lane and the top side, somehow, both of them escape with their lives.
Hell, did ICG don't die? My guy was
die.
I was like, all right, he's dead. Like, we're gonna cast this fight going on the top side jungle. No, he's like, I'm out of here, mate. Peace. That was very close on both sides. You did call it. Angry Present has gone for the Rocket Belt coming in first, as well as Glada. Is they're more or less even on gold now because of that 600 gold shutdown that Angry Present ended up getting upon Glada. So they're more or less going to be even on items. If we look on both sides right now, even though Glada is about a couple hundred gold ahead, Angry Present still has that mythic completed. Looking at top side, it is pretty darn relatively even. 80 carry wise, yeah, 80 carry wise. Hello's a little bit behind, but you kind of expect this going into a Morgana Misfortune Lane, considering that she is going what I would assume would be an Eclipse first item. Not all bad if you're DZG. This is definitely much better than it was in game 1.
Yeah, even being down what is sadly about 10-15 CS on the bottom side and going to be closed up to about 12. It's still, yeah, when you're playing a 500 range AD carry and you're into Sivir Morgana, you kind of just have to expect, or you're kind of into Misfortune Morgana, you kind of just have to expect that and say, you know what, alright, I'm going to get poked out, I'm going to be outranged, not a lot I can do about it, but I'm going to farm up and eventually I'll be able to hit my item spikes.
But this is still very good for DZG. Even though we see Conduit starting up Rift Herald here, they're going to get this. This is the first one of the game. I'm very curious to see where Glada ends up putting this. I would imagine to put it into Merciful Crow's hands to allow more control for the mid lane and having to push Chitin back to where he has to sit further back under his own tower.
Yeah, giving Seraphine the ability to roam around the map is really what we want to see for Glada and for Merciful Crow. Angry Present is down here. He is on a ward. Rotation is coming down from Conduit,
The
though. This could be a really
4v3.
big punish. Symphonic is going to probably have to be forced. A really nice handshake to find two, but the bind is there. Symphonic does have the hostile takeover, but he's not going to burn it. Hello is just going to use the on the hunt to make sure that they get out of there. Mountain Dragon is coming up at about 35. Symphonic will be alive and probably be able to rotate down to actually make it to the fight. ICGE, in the meantime, just, as you were saying, wet noodle fight up here at the top side. They're both just swinging away at each other.
I think that was smart for Symphonic because he knew he was dead and he said, I don't need to burn this ultimate because I'd rather hold it if they look as if they're posturing towards bot lane to be able to contest forward. Drake as Hello needs to run from here. Gada does not have flash.
He's got his spell shield. Gonna burn the heal on himself. Doesn't spell shield even wide or the stun. But there comes Angry Present over the wall. Finds the two-man fear. And there's the Berserk as well. But there's Glada with a nice Keeper's Verdict to pop away Angry Present. Ipsy is gonna live through just barely with the Ignite taking away. He's gonna be able to survive. And their Herald does get that second charge. No, he got the second charge. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
That is a lot of damage onto that second tower. And that should mean full dragon control. Oh, Symphonic, you cannot be stepping up here. Glada is just going to delete him. Angry Present is going to be forced to walk out of his own jungle.
Gladys got 6 kills. It's not a pony. There's a little midget running at you, and that thing is terrifying. It's got 6
remember
kills.
earlier in the draft we were talking about like what some teams consider to be the best jungler in the world and might just be like the #1 jungler right now. Yeah, we're seeing why.
Yeah, Poppy is just very, very strong. He is able to dash in, stop your escapes coming in. Hello, that was a lot of damage, by the way, onto Hello. Hello had about half his HP, but one combo from Poppy ended up just completely murking him. At this point, we have to see second Drake has gone down over to Conduit. We are starting to see items completed on both sides. Katen and Angry Present both going for the Rocket. Billy Willard has also gone for the Eclipse. I would imagine first item for Ipsy is going to be that Zhonya's, considering the build path that he's currently on. I think I only needed like 100 gold to be able to complete that item.
Yeah, it's a couple hundred gold for Zhonya's completion. It's not too much. I do actually really, normally I'm not a huge fan of Poke, on Misfortune specifically. I think her crit build is really strong, but in this game in particular, when you have so much setup from Ipsy and from Merciful Crow, in 9 out of every 10 team fights, you're going to be able to just sit there, full channel that bullet time, and just say, hey, I have Eclipse, I have Lethality, you are going to get shredded.
This is where DZG, we said they didn't want to be. It's more or less eerily similar to game 1. They're still 3k behind, 3.5k behind, sorry. But DCG is slowly falling further and further behind it. Conduit just kind of seem to have their number as they see here.
Oh, there's the Crow Storm. Angry Present with beautiful positioning. Gonna donate the kill over to Hello, and that's the kind of pick that we want to see. Really nice collapse by DZG.
Top lane though, Glada's looking for something on ICG. I don't think it's really going to work though. I mean, Sejuani, yes, it did work earlier, but this piggy's kind of chunky right now. So
yeah, you have the Divine Sunderer, you have a little bit of tank shred, but it is still Sejuani. It's not a level 5 Sejuani anymore. You have to be worried about that 2-stun combo with the passive plus the ultimate. Sejuani puts out damage. You got to be concerned.
Oh, speaking of damage as well, Glada just, instead of going so it was Boots of Swifties and a Negatron Cloak, ended up reverting that purchase and has bought an Anathemas right off the bat.
Yeah, I actually wonder who that's being attached to. I would have to assume that it's Hello, since he was the only one on the map. And I think the full tank Poppy being able to remove a lot of damage and reduce the tenacity of a Sivir could be really, really important.
It just makes it easy for you to be able to catch them as well, especially with the slows that Conduit has, the roots that they have. Like, they have a lot of utility on almost everyone, actually on everyone on their team right now. Are they going to try this again, round number 2?
There's the spell shield from Gipsy. Still taking plenty of damage, but there's the bullet time.
Symphonic!
It's going to burn down. The bailout is not going to find anything. Billy Willard picks up that one, and that is the Morgana Misfortune combo right there.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. It didn't quite happen there, mate. Great pick onto Symphonic. Drake is on it for another 2 minutes. Bot tower has gone down in favor of Conduit, as Kaiten's in trouble here too.
Lada is just going to take that trade. Ipsy and Billy Willard are rotating up. Kaiten has to back off. I think if Glada didn't rotate Ian as quickly as he did, maybe if he just delayed the engage, potentially that's just a dead kite.
And at that point, you have to think, okay, like if the Diana dies and this mid tower falls, then what are you gonna do? I mean, at this point, DZG is slowly still falling further and further behind. It's still 3k difference, but objectives are starting to go into the pockets of Conduit. They seem to have a little bit more as far as map presence goes. Kind of goes back in, but the channel completes back for Ipsy as well, because Symphonic was right nearby.
Yeah, plenty of damage from Chitin. We've seen him do this before. Symphonic not going to catch the stun. There's the handshake. Going to pull Glada in. The Keeper's Verdict is going to get channeled. Someone's going to get knocked away. Chitin ends up flying off of his screen. But it is half of Glada's HP taken away.
Glada is fairly beefy on it, but we're going to have another fight potentially coming in.
Symphonic caught by the roof. Flash forward from Ipsy is going to fight one. The hostile takeover isn't there. He's got him doing the denial. Huge Crow Storm from Angry Present. There's the Moonfall from Chitin. That's the setup that DZG was looking for. They get the shutdown goal for themselves. They don't have interrupt for Squig, but that is 3 kills traded for 1. Beautifully played by DZG.
No, we said team fights, right? We said team fights. They were like, hey, I found a few guys. Come join me. Symphonic actually was probably 300 IQ in that and saying, baiting it to say, oh no, I've been caught out again. Whatever will I do? I'ma just throw this ulti out on you and hope for the best. Psych, I've got the rest of the team here with me, goon squatting this. Really good turnaround by DZG though.
Give him the Oscar for his acting performance.
Yeah,
I was fully believed.
Oh
fooled.
no, woe is me. Like
Yeah, but that was a really nice turnaround. They finally got the combo of this mid-jungle duo that we've been looking for. Fiddlesticks Diana, they got the Crow Storm into the Moonfall. It's just so much magic damage over time. Granted, it is all magic damage, so you can build around it. But if you're building MR, you're not itemizing for hello, as we've got another fight here. There's the Encore. The Tom Kench finds the 2-man knockup. There's the bullet time, but it's only onto 1. ICGE is tanking it up. The bailout finally comes through, but he's going to fall. That's going to be just 1 pick for Conduit, but I think that's going to give them the Dragon.
This is where I draw gripes with how the teams go into this. When you're going into a team that has a Misfortune and a Seraphine, there's no point going through your jungle. You have to go in from a lane because it's just a wider area of effect where you're knowing that Misfortune can't cover the entire entrance, neither can Seraphine with their ultimate. So a little bit of a misstep there, even though they ended up getting a tower in for themselves. Still only 2k, just shy of 2k difference. They probably won't care so much. Oh, never mind.
Oh, Glada finds the stun. The handshake is not going to find Chitin, but the steadfast presence is just going to make sure Chitin has to burn his flash.
Angry President
is in there with the Crow Storm, but he's going to get consumed immediately by Tom Kench. That's going to be just a dead of Fiddlesticks on arrival. Shut down immediately. ICGE is now in the back line. He's going to do plenty of damage to Billy Willard here. There's no Black Shield just yet. Has to flash away. The Ignite is there, but ICGE is not going to be able to survive this one. Chitin has the Moonfall available. He might want to look for it, but a nice handshake from Symphonic is going to keep his mid laner alive for now. But again, a 2-man knockup from Squig. The Berserk is there. It does so much, but it's just not enough. 2 kills for Merciful Crow, and Squig somehow manages to live through that whole fight.
DZG nearly caught up in gold. They were only like 1,500 gold down after that first initial fight. Now they're back down to 3k again. Like, it's with that TP coming in from ICG, they seem to be just on different pages right now. ICG just TPing in there kind of sealed his own fate by saying, hey, Angry Present's already dead. There's not much I can do. I'm very curious to see Angry Present did go for the Void Staff second instead of the Zhonya's. Zhonya's just obviously gives you more survivability in that case, even though you do sack a little bit of damage. I'm very curious to see where DZG goes from here because all their damage right now, like you mentioned, is all magic. Hello needs to get to 2 items before he's able to really shell out anything. Billy Willard, my guy, seems to have a fetish for longswords. That's all he seems to be buying at this point. If you're DZG though, here's the one thing. Even though even though Conduit is going for, as we have a pause here, even though Conduit is chasing these objectives, you're okay giving away this soul. Because it's not as nearly as effective as it was in the previous game, with them having the Sivir and the Hecarim to run at you. DZG saying, you know what, we can totally give this up. We can buy ourselves more time to be able to just continue to farm, as we see Hello's most likely is going into, I'd imagine, an LDR secondary here.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. I think the Cloud Soul really only has that big impact for Squig and for Ipsy. Billy Willard, like, if you've full channeled your bullet time, no matter what, the fight is over at that point. Whether you've won or lost, the movement speed isn't going to make a big difference. Maybe for Merciful Crow, it gets him better positioning, but Seraphine's positioning is generally like very safe and very simple. And Glada, it comes after you're done channeling the Keeper's Verdict, so it's not like you can start channeling it, get the speed up, and just be sprinting around, winding up your hammer, just looking for a target. It's generally like these are ultimates that once they're cast, like the fight is done. Whether you've won or lost the fight, you've used your ultimate. Either you found the pick or you missed it, and the fight's over.
And just as an FYI, the jungler for Conduit did end up disconnecting before we end up getting this game. Never mind, we have got back in. We'll assume Glada is back in the game now, so you may see a little bit of a spectator bug delay on the stream before we get back into it. Now, let's take a reset. Let's just take a cache of everything that we have. DZG is behind currently 4K gold. They are not... The enemy team is on soul points. They don't have vision across the map. They've seen that the last 2 fights that they ended up trying to commit have been going backwards both times. Now, if you're on their side, you just have to think, hey, can we take our time to say, hey, let's just buy more time and get more items into Hello, into Kiten, into Angry Present? Or is Conduit just going to say, you know what, we're just going to continue to force you to fight us at any time we please?
Yeah, I think Kiten and Angry Present really want to be forced into fights in these choke points where they can have that full effectiveness on the Crow Storm and the Moonfall. But when you fight in a choke point, like you talked about earlier, you give Misfortune Seraphine exactly what they want. So if they are not caught up in the fear, that's not a fight you're going to win.
Yeah, just don't go into small crevices. Don't go through the jungle. If you're trying to contest for the Baron or Next Drake or Elder, whatever it is, stay in as wide open spaces as you can. As Glada here is just clearing more vision for Conduit, DZG is going to have to be backing off there because you can't face check anything at this point.
Yeah, I like that Symphonic is just placing down these very defensive wards, just making sure that his own jungle is safe enough to stand in, that they at least know when danger's coming. Like right now, he's gonna catch Ipsy, but the bind is gonna find him. Nice handshake is gonna delay Glada, but he needs to flash. He has to get out of here. He's just getting one shot. The Dark Harvest Poppy, that I don't think we've even talked about her runes at this point, just does so much damage. Symphonic manages to stay alive, but has to just take a recall there.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest. Production, can we get a count on Dark Harvest stacks for the Poppy? That's
Never
a big one.
for the stacking champions.
Yeah, I mean, you do get 5. We got 13 stacks. That's a lot, actually, for a Poppy at 22 minutes. Like, she's been going ham. As Merc Treads and Negatron does end up coming back through for the Poppy as well. And no wonder she ends up hurting. 13's a lot of stacks for a Poppy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But it does mean that she's not going to have something like Aftershock, not something like Grasp or even Guardian. It's not Phase Rush. It's a very offensive rune. So when Poppy gets in, she'll do a lot of damage. But she's not going to be as tanky as she would. Symphonic is going to have to burn his own Guardian. Nice sidestep on the bindings. Not going to find him this time. But yeah, Poppy's going to, when she gets in, her tank items are going to be all that's defending her. She doesn't really have other defensive capabilities.
But if you're, like, speaking of defensive capabilities, Merciful Crow ends up completing the Zhonya's here on the Seraphine. So even if Kai and an Angry Peasant do manage to go in, like, she's going to be able to survive for a wee bit. I don't see, until Hello completes this LDR, I don't see how they kill Glada and Squig. I don't see how DZG does it. Like, Squig has all the magic resist he needs right now. Glada's got a ton of HP, has the Anathemas, I would assume, on Hello, because it's the only physical damage that they have. With Billy Whittle also at 2.5 items, pushing up upon the Shereldas of his own. Like, DZG, you just need to sit back and just farm as best you can. Hello needs this LDR before the scene can really be effective.
Yeah, with Cloud Dragon up in 30 seconds, if they feel like they have to fight, they won't have the time to finish that item. They're just going to have to be comfortable with the Last Whisper. They could potentially look to force and say, hey, if you want to trade Soul for Baron, we'll take Baron. But they are positioning correctly this time. They're in the river. They're in the lane. Glada wants to force this fight, though. Squig is standing menacingly in the front line. ICGE gets tagged. The passive goes away. Symphonic just gets the...
Here we go. 3-man knockup!
And knockup from Squig! Angry Present is on the back line along with Kiten, and the fight is suddenly turned. Potentially DZG favored. All 3 of the squishy members are just deleted. Glada is the only one left alive. The bailout is there. Hello is not. He's going to get bailed out. A nice Q is going to keep him alive. And it's not a clean ace, but that is 4 for 1, and you're so happy to see that as DZG.
It looks so good for Conduit right at the beginning, but Fiddles is like, hello, you kind of forgot about me. I'm on your back line now. It's exactly what we said at the beginning of the game. He was able to just jump straight back. The Kiten had a huge moonfall back there to be able to catch Willard and Merciful Crow as a Merciful Crow, and didn't even get the chance to set off the Zhonya's. That it just didn't even happen. Had no time to be able to do it. DZG taking this is right back in the game.
Yeah, when I saw the 3-man knockup from Squig, I really just thought the fight was done. I didn't think that there was any chance for DZG to turn that one around. But beautiful positioning from Angry Present and Chitin means that they're able to turn the fight. They take themselves the Baron. They potentially will lose Cloud Soul, but it looks like Chitin was able to zone off Squig. But now Billy Willard and Yipsy are here. Chitin has no mana, and I think that it might have just been a Dragon Donation. Angry Present's
here.
He has Smite. He's waiting for it. And Poppy is gonna save his life! Chitin is probably the sacrificial lamb as Billy Willard has the strat. Chitin, I don't think you're getting away from this one. Billy Willard just waiting for that lost auto. There it is! But you'll take stopping a soul for losing one every day of the week.
Yo, my guy was like, cheers, mate, I'll have you next time. Poppy inadvertently ends up saving Angry Present, who at that point, I believe, only had like 10 HP. My guy was in double digits. Like you said, Chitin had to be the sacrificial lamb, but that's totally fine, considering what DZG was able to get out of it. They're now only 1k back down upon them. This is anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, DZG has done a wonderful job pulling this game back, and now they're looking to set it up again. You can see Angry Present on the side, just waiting for the opportunity to jump in if they overforce. But with Seraphine and Misfortune, there's a lot of wave clear and a lot of sustain here for Conduit Esports. So in a siege, they're feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, but that's okay with DZG though, because there's, like we said, they want to get items on the number. Hello has picked up the LDR. That dagger coming through tells me, all right, most likely that's going to be PD there. Chitin, I would assume, is going decap second with the first medium to large roll that we see. Angry Present does have the Zonyas as well, so he's able to be able to buy a little bit more time within fights because he'll be able to stay alive a wee bit longer. That is what DZG wants to do. Get to that backline and cause chaos. If they're able to do that, then the rest of the team will be able to follow up easy. Because that backline, once you get to them, there's no way they survive. They just don't, because they pop way too quickly. Chitin going in for a one-tap build will one-tap anyone on the backline, especially once he ends up getting that decap.
Yeah, like you were saying, this is the Diana one-shot build. This is not the usual style of build we've been seeing with Diana, where you take her into the jungle, you grab Nashers, you get your Sunfire, you have Red Smite, and you're like, I'm going to take a very long, extended fight where I stack my Sunfire, and I'm going to be so tanky and do so much damage. No. Chitin just wants the one-shot. Angry Present is going to find one with the fear. The Steadfast Presence doesn't find the denial on Chitin's dash. He's got the second dash in. The Moonfall finds two. Hello is here as well. A nice Keeper's Verdict is going to save his life along with the Devour from Tom Kench. Now, Hello, you're on your own, buddy. I don't think you want to fight this one too long. The Spell Shield is not going to find anything, but with the Baron empowerment, I think he's going to be okay to continue this fight. The hostile takeover is over the wall. Angry Present wants to find Ipsy. The fear is there's so much damage. Oh my god, Ipsy's deleted.
That was... this is what did we say? They wanted chaos, right? This is chaos for DZG. They are throwing them out of their sync as they continue to make this push on the top tower. Oh, she's coming in!
Poison! Billy Willard is just dead! Hello now goes on a rampage, and all four members. The Baron buff has run out, but they are here for the siege. Chitin is taking the recall to make sure that Seraphine can't get anything on the bottom side. This is what DZG wanted. These are the fights they're taking.
Yo, there's 30 seconds left on Billy Willard before he comes up. They can take this tower and inhibitor pretty free, because I don't think Glauda can defend this by himself. Seraphine just now is backing up. They didn't want to take the risk there because they didn't see where Merciful Crow was. DZG, for the first time this game, is now ahead, granted by 300 gold, is now ahead in gold for the game.
We will take it. But yeah, those are the kind of chaotic fights that DZG really wants to find. Hello, now with like an extra 2,000 gold in his pocket, he's not ahead of Billy Willard, but he's catapulted himself back into this game. He's probably getting close to finishing his third item, potentially looking to get started on his fourth. This is now a fully itemized setter.
Yeah, well, generally when you see like, you know, even teams on even gold, you see like, hey, one person like mid lane may have an advantage of one over the other, and the AD carry would have on the other side. No, they are identical gold-wise on both teams. So this has worked twice now for them, where they say, hey, we can pop one. If we can pop one, the rest of the fight is won. But they have to, again, get to that backline. Squig has done a great job of finding multiple knockups on this TK. But the last two fights that this has happened, DZG said, okay, TK, you want to commit to us? We're just going to go to your backline and pop them one time.
Exactly. Tahm Kench can do one of two things. He can either engage or he can peel. He can't do both. And if he's going to be the engage, suddenly the backline with these three squishy members don't have a Tahm Kench to protect them. Angry President Chitin love to see that. But if they're not engaging, suddenly it gives DZG more opportunities to find picks, to just try and find one person rotating boardly. You can see Chitin here. Glada is going to burn the Keeper's Verdict. And just on the Fiddlesticks clone, Squig is over the wall. The hostile takeover's in the choke point. Billy Willard and Merciful Crow are going to be killing each other. There's the fear from Angry President with the Crow Storm. Billy Willard is just dead, and ICGE is just tanking everything. There's the Glacial Prison into the two-man Moonfall. Chitin finds it again. It's a double kill for him. Hello's going to pick up that one, and that's 4 clean kills for DZG Squig. No deaths on his record, but all of his friends are dead, which means this game might be over.
It's gonna be over. The time is right now at 35 seconds for Crow, 24 for Billy Willard. DGG could end the game here. They've got a wave. Another one's not hit for a while, but they will fully commit to this.
Yeah, ICG is just going to tank the towers. He doesn't care. He's Sejuani. Chitin is now going to look to just start autoing these towers. It's the Diana passive. There's half the tower's health gone. Yeah, these Nexus towers are down. Squig can't stop them. The game is just over.
Yep. Second game over to DZG. We are on Silver Scrapes, my friends. Someone grab the camera because we are going to a game 3.
We've got ourselves a series and honestly a little concerning one. At that, the early game, for DZG's credit, it looked shaky. It wasn't super clean. They were behind in gold for a lot of it, but they didn't give up. They found their way back into it.
How was that? No, and there's gonna be, oh no, Chitin just had to warm up, right? That's all it was. One thing I do want to throw that Hello throwing out tons of damage was very close with Billy Willard as far as damage being able to throw out, but it was just a mirror on the other side. In the game 1, Conduit were able to just say, hey, we're going to run at you. Now game 2, DGG was able to. You have to think, hey, Sivir has won both games. Do you leave that up for game 3, or do you take that away just to make sure no one can get it? It is very much like, hey, who can run into each other harder? And I think game 3 will be a spicy one.
Yeah, it should be pretty spicy. I'm excited to see how this game is actually going to end up, because it should be an exciting one. 17 kills for both sides. It really was just a game of inches. We will be right back before we hop into game 3. Don't go anywhere. Grab yourselves a drink. Turn on the Silver Scrapes. We've got a series on our hands.
See the galaxy's reflection in your eyes. There's nothing that compares to this energy. I've got a sweet escape under bright light. Illuminate my face under bright light. It's shining down on us under bright light. Illuminate your face on the bright light. That's when I come alive.
sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them. There were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality ain't your reality, no. I'm all the sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them. There were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality ain't your reality, no. Those hands and lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when
Welcome back, everybody. We've got a barn burner of a series. DZG has made the comeback, tied up the series 1-1. We're going into game 3.
Yep, and here's the big thing. Does Sivir stay on the table, or does a team just take it off? That's the big one, because it's won both games and effectively has won both games.
Yeah, and now with Conduit being able to take the blue side, they had the Seraphine priority last time around, which I don't think was wrong, but just given the fact that by giving the Seraphine, you're giving up the Sivir, it maybe isn't what you're looking for.
Yep, different ban order right now. Hecarim being the first one coming off the table, which I think is good, because it shows adaptation. I do expect the Sivir to be taken off, and then force Conduit to say, hey, do you want to pick between this and the Seraphine or something else?
Yeah, I think if DZG is going to ban away the Sivir, I wouldn't be surprised to just see Conduit have full priority on the Seraphine again. I think that champion's really good. I liked the combo that they had with the Morgana, with the Misfortune, and with the Seraphine. That bottom side looked good when they weren't being one-shot by Fiddlesticks Diana.
Here's the thing. If DZG doesn't ban the... Fiddlesticks. Adaptation coming in. So Viego is now on the table, which means you can leave the Shyvana up, ban the Sivir, which is what's happened here. Conduit will end up taking the Shyvana most likely, or the Seraphine, giving the Viego over to DZG. Or unless Conduit wants to take it, B1 here.
Yeah, I like the draft adaptation that is going on here. The teams really having respect for the picks that each side are pulling out. And it looks like Conduit are still going to have the priority on that Seraphine, which does mean if DZG wants Viego for Angry Present, they can have it.
That's one thing up there. Shyvana is also still up as well, so they could potentially take that and, deny that going over to Conduit. DZG, I would imagine that they would want to take an AD carry here, as they've done in the first 2 games, pretty darn early. What that ends up being is going to be soon to be seen in the next couple seconds. Yes! Actually, no! This is awful! I hope this is not Ashe poke support because I'm an Ashe one trick. That is so boring to watch, but really impressive to play against.
Yeah, it's really, really good into a potential Seraphine support. You have access to anti-heal really early, you have a lot of poke, a lot of really annoying laning phase tools. I'm a little worried to see that the Shyvana is going through. I have to assume that DZG is going to grab the Viego here, just make sure their jungle is locked in and not able to be picked away by Conduit, because we've seen what Glada can do with tank champions, with these beefier ones that are... That's an Amumu, okay. These ones that are a bit, like, more... team-oriented, but with a champion like Viego, if Glada gets the same lead that he's gotten in games 1 and 2, he can run away with the game.
So in the LPR, Ashe AD carry has been a thing. Obviously, Mumu support has been all over the place. That just makes bot lane super oppressive. I would assume DZG has not picked up the Viego yet because they are waiting to see what Conduit ends up taking into the jungle. If they take the Shyvana jungle, never mind, it's going to be the other way around. I was going to say that DZG would end up taking the Viego here, but it's been denied. Conduit takes the Viego into their own hands.
Yeah, and again, if Glada can get the same lead that he's gotten in these early games, he can really run away with it. Viego is one of these champions that can just snowball out of control if you give him the resources. It's not like Poppy, where you're a champion where like, okay, I picked up 1 or 2 kills, that's good, but it's not like necessary. With Viego, if you get a couple of early kills, the game's over.
Yep, and we see the Xayah coming in for Conduit as well. I am very curious as far as Xayah goes, what builds we've been seeing, because as we all know, historically has been the Eclipse poke side that has been very darn popular. What's actually been more successful in solo queue rate right now, it's got like a 56% win rate, is crit. So you go Gale Force into Collector and then into IE or Zeal item. That's been more popular and more winning on the side of Xayah. But Ornhorn, the god his hands, has come in for ICGE.
Yep, again, immediately DZG takes away the Rakan. I think you cannot allow that pairing to go through. Xayah Rakan is such a strong bottom lane duo, and if you're playing Ashe Amumu, if that Amumu does end up going to Symphonic in the bot side, which I think it will, Ashe Amumu is, like you were talking about, a very oppressive lane. We've got a very different style of draft here for DZG. They've opted to instead ignore the mid and the jungle entirely and just look to grab that secure matchup in the top side.
Now, this is a lot of beef on the side of DZG as well, because yes, Amumu, he is going support. He's not the tankiest in the world, but where he lacks a little bit in that is his ultimate, the Curse of the Sad Mummy, because that has the potential to just completely wipe everything around in one shape or another. The setup is there as well, because Ornn's able to set up the Amumu with the Call of the Forge God. Ashe obviously has the arrow as well, so it's a lot of lockdown that DZG does have, but Conduit's also saying, hey, you want to come into us? Xayah, catch me if you can. Seraphine, I just have an ultimate for you. What are you going to do? So jungle is going to be very, very important here for DZG as, hey, are we looking for something that's full damage to continue to go in? Or are we just looking for more setup potentially for a mid laner to come through?
I mean, if we're continuing with what looks like the Freljord comp, we can throw the Volibear in there as well. We just have Ashe, Ornn, and Volibear, maybe stick like a Lissandra in the mid lane, and suddenly Amu's the odd man out. But it's going to be the Olaf? Olaf is also from the Freljord. You know what? That works. Olaf for Angry Present. Again, like the Fiddlesticks, a bit more of a high economy jungler. Someone who is much more aggressive and much more willing to just take fights whenever because it is Olaf. I'm interested to see how they're going to be able to pilot this one because we've seen this one banned away by DZG in the 2 previous games. So now that they've let it through, they've opted to just pick it up themselves.
Dude, DZG's got some beef. I mean, Olaf is just going to run through. You can take the Braum. It's like, what's Braum going to do? Olaf is just going to run right through you, mate. They've got a lot of beef, so if you're the side of Conduit, you think, okay, we want to try and absorb it. It looks like they're just saying, hey, we're okay with them running into us. We want to try and absorb as much damage as we can. How can we continue? Zillion, again, might be a thing here as well. Sek coming in. I'm not entirely fond of this because you can't throw the Olaf back into them. Not to my knowledge. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But if Olaf presses R...
Not during the Ragnarok, no.
Yeah, okay, so that's a little confusing to me, but maybe when it's on cooldown, okay, then you can throw him back in. DZG needs a big pop-off champion coming into the mid lane. They need heavy AP burst coming in. Because if they don't, Ashe, while can do a lot of damage, is more there for utility. Ornn, as we know, is an assassin, so he's not going to do that much damage. Amumu there because Olaf has the potential to wipe someone out, but what the?
That's a Darius.
I'm checking to make sure that's the right pick, but
yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on the client draft on the client chat. So that is
all bets off the table.
That's potentially a Darius mid into the Seraphine.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for confirmation. No one said anything in game lobby, so I'm assuming this is intentional.
Yeah, I've seen from
this has got to be a Darius mid, right? You can't see it off.
Magfirst has called it Darius mid. Into Seraphine, I don't hate it just because Darius takes Flash Ghost and he can just bully a squishy laner like Seraphine really well. They could even have Ornn run mid lane if they wanted to lane swap Chitin and ICG. Just have Darius have the better matchup into Set, because Set into Ornn, Set into a tank, he really enjoys that, just being able to build Bork and just beat down on him. But yeah, I think for sure Chitin is going to have the Darius in his hands.
Yo, right, DZG, yes, game 3. We need to pick something that is solid and stable. We can win. Man throws Darius mid lane and say, let's have it. At this point, you have to think there's a lot of CC, there's a lot of pick potential on the side of DZG. Again, you don't want to let this game go too late if you are Conduit, because a late game Darius is terrifying. Ornn coming in with the ornaments. Olaf does fall off, so there's a little bit of a hit there. Amumu just ends up getting beefier and beefier. Ashe will slow you till Death Kingdom come. But on the other side, you do have kind of good counter engage. Set can throw the Darius back into the team. Xayah can peel for herself. Viego gets one reset, and it's just Spook City at this point to where, okay, how are you going to be able to stop him? I expect this game to be explosive from the early game.
Yeah, I think explosive is going to be a really good word for it. You were talking about earlier in draft the lack of magic damage that DZG has, and that can potentially be a problem. But I think a benefit to that is Conduit's comp isn't incredibly tanky. The only real frontliners are the Set and the Braum. Set wants to build items that just give pure health, so he can have that Haymaker do as much as possible. Braum is going to be stuck on support economy, so trying to build a lot of magic resist with that, not the easiest thing to do. But it does mean that the physical damage that DZG is putting out is going to be a lot less negated, because it's a lot more difficult for these squishier champions to stack armor.
Yeah, like you're saying with Set, right? Once the what's it called, the Facebreaker, is it the Haymaker, the W that ends up just walloping with that.
W's the We've got the Haymaker, Facebreaker, Showstopper, right? I just wanted all the abilities to sound the same.
Okay, so they were going to sound the big shield killing item ability thingy. There you go. That is the only real beefiness that they have on the front line, because once that is burned, they don't have a lot of health there to be able to say, hey, we can withstand something coming in. There is a ton of CC on the side of DZG as well. So this is telling me DZG wants to be the ones to enable fights, to start the fights, to be able to go in. And Conduit has to think, you know what, if we can weather this off, the longer the fights go, especially if you keep Seraphine and Viego alive, the better it is. But this is a coin toss at this point. Both comps are just comfort for one. And I mean, Darius coming into the mid lane is you chat have it. You look and decide if that's good or not.
It's a bit of a shakeup. I know you were griping a bit about the potential for poke Ashe support. I wouldn't actually hate if Hello does go for the poke build. There's a lot of shielding and a lot of healing on the Conduit side, and your team has Darius Olaf. They have consistent physical damage. You could build for pure utility, take Mandate so your team has some magic damage behind it, build the Serpent's Fang, build the Kempung Chainsword, just be there purely for utility. I don't know if Hello will go for that. We'll have to see. The runes will tell us everything. If it's Lethal Tempo, he's 80 carry. If it's Comet, he's poke. But I think if there was ever a game for Hello to build it as the actual bot lane carry, it's this one.
There's my one argument to that is, if you do that, you are giving up this lane. Right, you're just you're completely conceding this lane, and Amumu and Ashe needs to be able to at least somewhat farm to be able to still get to those items that she can still consistently spam out the W at a 2-second cooldown once she has CDR boots, mandates, and also the tier item completed as well. She still needs money to get there. Those are not necessarily cheap items. But also saying that there is 3 melees on the side of Conduit. Runan's here slows the entire team down, which enables you to just continue to run forward. It is straight up a coin toss. Obviously, you know, we here at DZG, we want DZG to win, but I expect by the time we hit 10 minutes, there's hopefully at least 10 kills.
Yeah, this should be a much more explosive early game than we've been seeing these past couple games. But anyway, before we toss it to a quick break, I am going to shout out the fact that DZG has merch. You can, the link should be posted in chat pretty soon. You can go down there, buy some shirts, buy some flags, support DZG in any way that you can possibly. We really appreciate the support you guys show just by coming out to being here in chat and watching the stream. But if you want to support a little further, go ahead, buy yourself a jersey, buy yourself a flag. You deserve it. You've been doing so well recently. Pick it up for yourself. But we are going to head to a short break before we hop into Game 3 as we wait for our spectator delay. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Can't stay in my feet. What I'm gonna do if I really want to? But you know, baby, break my mind and teeth. But you have the key, so open my heart, please, my heart, please. I can't stay in my feet. What I'm gonna do if I really want to? But you know, baby, break my mind, break my mind. So open my heart, please, my mind. So please, my mind. So open my heart, please, my mind. But you know, baby. But you know, baby.
Welcome back. We've had a very exciting draft coming into our Game 3 here, and it looks like we'll potentially have an exciting early game as DZG are setting up for this invade.
Oh, I swear, it's like, well, every team wants to do something, right? DGG's going to go in, but what they don't know is this Tri-Bush has been warded, so Conduit's going to see this and say, you know what? We should go get Vision as well. Conduit, go get Vision as well.
They are not
Go
looking
get
forward on the top
Vision
side.
as well, you bellends.
They have Vision. They are just choosing not to.
Okay, DZG wins this now. Like, I don't get that. The game over, boys. That's it.
That's the game decider right there.
Right there.
I do really like the early ward from Billy Willard. He knows that there's the potential for level 1 shenanigans. It's Olaf, it's Darius. They both have Ghost. It's terrifying to potentially face check that. So you just drop the ward in your own Tri-Brush and say, hey, I don't want to mess with any of that.
Yeah, so at this point, if you're, it stops them obviously be able to come in, and usually when a team sees it, they're like, okay, they know we're all here, just back up because you don't know what they could be planning on the other side as well. Interesting, Angry President is going to be starting on top side, which means it will be pathing towards bot. There is a lot of good gank setup in this bot lane. All Hello needs is an auto attack to be able to catch for Olaf to be able to run in and potentially kill someone there as well. Even top, there's pretty good gank setup in all lanes with the exception of maybe mid, unless Kaiten does get the condemn coming forward. Not the condemn, whatever it's called. The
Apprehend, the other one.
That's the one, yeah. To be able to help, to be able to put him in and set him up in that sense. But this should be winning lanes across the board. Top lane Squig will probably have a fun time here. As you mentioned earlier, we wanted to see which build Hello would be going for. It is, I think, the better one to go for, which is, we see lethal here, so assuming this will be crit Ashe. Well, or at least auto-attacking Ashe versus support Ashe, because, you know, no one wants to really watch any of that rubbish.
Yeah,
but this is a good way to set up
really
an
crit
auto.
anyway, but yeah, it's auto attack based on hit Ashe. If C and Billy have the early level 2, Hello is going to be forced to walk away.
Yep.
The bite is gonna go wide, so DZG will find their way to level 2 and just even out the laning phase.
There we go, right between the goalposts there. Looking on both sides, Viego's already looking to try and get into Angry President's jungle. He's just going to miss him, but Glada may come back into the mid lane. I've seen this story 3 times now.
Yeah, Kaiten is playing aggressively. This is an early Darius, though. I don't think he's upset taking this trade. He gets the Q for himself. He's got the healing. Is here. The Noxian Guillotine. Noxian is stacked. Glada's going to heal up, but Angry President will find himself a kill in response. The Noxian Might was there for Kaiten. Darius is such a terrifying person to gank.
I mean, there's 3 games in a row. Glada's got first blood, and it's, you know, he's been very, very proactive, and Angry President unfortunately has to be very reactive about it. Now, the Angry President obviously didn't die, so he's the one who, I believe, continued to get the buffs and is going to be able to continue to farm out his jungle, but again, Glada's already got a pickaxe. This is very, very good if you're a Viego fan.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Conduit Esports, you're happy to see Glada get a lead again in this game. It does mean that Angry President got his buffs slightly refreshed, not by like a ton, but he gets his he gets a blue buff for himself before he picks up his own, so he's not going to be too upset about that.
Farming on each side though, Hello's falling a little far behind, but top lane as well for IC. Top lane you kind of expected going into a set, but still close, still within that 400 gold lead, 400 gold as you would have seen from a first blood. I would imagine that's mid lane for Kaiten there, because Merciful Crow has been put fairly heavily behind. There's about it's going to be a wave behind soon.
Yeah, this is we were talking about it a bit between the games, just the fact that Darius can accelerate so incredibly quickly in these games if he gets a small lead, and the fact that even though he didn't get a kill, the fact that he got the assist and he's going to be getting more items in his pocket as soon as he hits tier 2 boots, it's going to be so difficult for Seraphine to walk into this lane at all.
Seraphine's gonna have to sit under her tower, in all honesty, because the moment Darius gets a hook, I mean, she's so squishy, she'll die instantly to him, especially once he's get the hemorrhage procs gone off, as well as the ultimate. Like, Seraphine just won't really stand much chance at all. She doesn't have a lot of survivability, even though can heal herself. Angry President is now first to top lane compared to the first 2 games where Glada was not seeing. Nope, never mind. He thought better otherwise. Hello has been dodging everything, by the way. I want to point that out there.
Yeah, Hello's got the fancy feet. I do like that Angry President just said, hey, I'm spotted on a ward, just gonna
hello!
He's got the hook. Gonna get plenty of damage on the Merciful Crow and a heal for himself on the way out. And yeah, that's the trade pattern. Darius versus Seraphine. That's what happens.
Do that a couple times.
Nice pull from Squig, but ICG is playing Ornn, so he's, I think, fine just taking the punishment for now, as long as he doesn't give up a solo kill, a 1 versus 1. Kaiten
what
has
up,
found
please?
Glada, but I don't know if this is the fight he wants to take. He's 1v1 right now. There's no rotate coming from Merciful Crow. He's just left his jungler to die. Kaiten has no mana, but it doesn't matter because Darius has auto attacks. Kaiten gets the solo kill.
Yo, that was... Oh, never mind. Ipsy is here as well.
Ipsy and Billy Willard have rotated up. Angry President is now here to support his mid laner as they just walk out for 3. That's just a free kill for the Darius.
That was... I'm surprised my Merciful Crow didn't walk over. Had priority on the lane, would have been able to get there way ahead of Angry President, because Angry President was just finishing off his chickens before heading over down. That could have been a 2v1. Maybe it was the fact that Merciful Crow didn't have any, or was close to no mana, and would have been more or less useless there, because the last thing you want to do is hand over 2 potential kills to the Darius. It's already got Merc Treads as well. Seraphine's not going to do anything to this lad now. Darius is going to be able to freely farm minions, and very potentially champions too. As Zinfona goes in.
Symphonic wants in on Billy Willard. They don't know that Glada is here, so Symphonic is just going to take a lot of punishment in return. Hello has to burn the heal. He's got his own lethal tempo stacked, and he's getting the auto attack in, but Glada is here. He's behind a minion wave, though, so I don't think Hello is going to get stunned. Has to flash away. These both summoners taken away from the DZG AD carry. That's, with Ashe, scary to look at.
I know, but this is the nice thing about going Ashe, right? Like, you can slow anyone who comes to you, just alter them. If you can kite decently well, what are you going to do? I don't care if there's 3 of them here. You walk away from that, Darius. Don't go near that fool.
Titan looked like he was ready to walk into that. He has level 6. He has the Noxian Guillotine. He wants to take a fight with anyone who will fight him.
This is terrifying, though, if you're Conduit. Like, Darius, if you're already scared of him now, just imagine what he's going to turn into. Like, this guy is going to be super strong. And as yet... Merciful Crow.
You're trying to dodge. He's got the red buff. There's the W slow as well. Chitin just gets 4 hemorrhage stacks onto Merciful Crow, and that's half of his health gone.
And there's no damage yet. Keep that in mind. Didn't go any damage items. Man was like, no, I'm going to go resistances. Just, you got to wait to see what's coming.
Mercury Tread's especially good here because it means that the CC from Braum and the CC from Seraphine won't stick as hard as they normally would. We have a potential fight in the bottom side as the top lane does their classic noodle fighting. Chitin and Symphonic have rotated up just to make sure that this first dragon won't instantly go. Oh, Chitin!
He pulled him over the wall!
Over the wall. Merciful Crow has to burn his own flash. Chitin has the Ghost on, though. Looks to wait for the Noxian Guillotine. There's the 4th one. He flashes away, but he still gets charmed. Chitin doesn't have the mana for the Guillotine. He's gonna go down, but there's no shutdown gold, so it is just gonna be the 1-for-1. ICG is taking the trade in the top side, though. He's winning that? He spellbooked himself into Ignite, and Squig was forced to flash away.
Yeah, I had to double check that. I was like, did we switch to one of the set around? This is not what's supposed to be. One of these things just doesn't belong here. Great comeback from ICGE there, and Chitin. You know when you're at the point where you have to. Oh, never mind. He's gonna eat a.
Squig is dead. Collapsed by the Ord.
Oh, I told you it was an assassin, but no one listens to me.
Thorn is the mage, assassin, tank, DPS, fighter, bruiser, jungler, assassin.
Yeah. Dragon being started up here for Conduit. Good response from them, seeing that, you know, since Chitin was there, they do have a little bit of priority to be able to get this here. This is something that they've done all 3 games, is putting heavy priority on Drakes, which is good to see because it's a way in which that they're able to secure some money. I believe each Drake, as far as the stats it gives to you prior to the changes, was considered about 500 gold for the entire team. So it does bring the gold a little bit closer, even though we're still negligible, of about 1,000 gold on the side of DZG. The difference is where is this gold on DZG? It is on Chitin, it is on Angry Present, and it is on ICGE. A little bit on the top lane, but this mid and jungle duo is gonna start running away from this unless Conduit is able to shut these 2 down. But if you're not, like, Darius has already started to scale. Like, you have to do something about this. If you leave this guy to 20 minutes, doesn't matter if you kill him or not at that point, he is gonna shut you down.
Yeah, I do appreciate that DZG, while they haven't been putting as much priority on the dragons, they've at least been making cross-map trades and present. I hate the fact that it doesn't pop up as a shout in the spectator client, but Angry Present did pick up the Rift Herald for himself. That is the first Rift Herald that they can get down before 14. That's a lot of money in their pockets, and if they can give that money to Chitin or to Hello, that's a big spike.
Yeah, and if you're Hello, you're thinking, all right, this is fine. I don't need gold. I'm just a Nash. I'm just going to throw some volleys and just be a stun bot with her Enchanted Crystal at this point because she's going to rely on the rest of the team to just do damage. She'll eventually get to the point where she is going to hurt. I would love to see. We'll find out in the next couple minutes whether she is going to go either Shield Bow or Kraken. I don't think she needs the Kraken. If anything, Gale Force might be better here because I don't see anyone on Conduit getting to her. So maybe the movement speed will be really important here to keep people slowed down, as Hello's doing a good job kiting right there.
Yeah, that is the Ashe combo right there. You auto, and then you auto, and then you auto some more.
Right,
and you have the approach velocity. That's the combo. It's incredibly difficult to pull off, but Hello makes it look easy.
If you can right click well enough, then you're all good, mate.
That's AD carry. As a support player, I have a lot of respect for AD carries as much as I meme on them for just right-clicking a lot. AD carry is a difficult role. We give them a lot of shit all the time for complaining, but it's hard. So when an AD carry looks good, it's nice to see.
Yeah, man, with glass cannons. Oh, bro, why are they there?
In the right spot, Chitin and Angry Present just waiting to punish the rotate. Beautifully punished by DZG.
How the hell did they get there? Like, they were on the other side of the mid laner is. Like, that should... all right. Anyway, mid lane, there's two. They're both still there. Going to take as many plates as they can. They're going to just shove as much gold into Kraken as they can here.
Yeah, that's a Herald proc. That's 2 more plates guaranteed to go down. It's not the full tower as they didn't get all of the plates down, but that eased a lot of gold in Chitin's pocket.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be close to a Triforce at this point, unless Kraken says, hey, I just want to fully commit to take this tower down. You probably don't want to. They are going to have to quill up Ipsy up here as well to be able to try and hold this mid tower. Kraken's going to back, has 1,800 gold. I believe he has enough for...
They've each got 2,000 in inventory. Good lord.
Yeah, well, he's not bought the Triforce here. He just bought the Iron Spike with. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's going Striping right now.
Yep, he's going to go that. That one will probably go into 8 Wits End, I would imagine, for his second item. But either way, this is a great start for DG, something we did not see games 1 and 2, where they fell behind very heavily early on.
Yeah, the fact that there's no snowball for Conduit is a big change from these first 2 games. They're not playing from behind anymore. They have the aggression. They have the lead. Chitin, if he can finish the Stridebreaker early, if I'm remembering right, that Axe does build into Stridebreaker because it gives attack speed. Unless he wants to go Gore plus Wits End, which I wouldn't hate. Wits End is probably fairly decent in this game, just with the amount of magic damage coming out from Merciful Crow. But maybe just a bit too much index into the magic resist at that point.
They're looking to secure the buffs on the top side here as well. Chitin is on a ward. Now notices that he's on a ward. I still don't think you can win this, Conduit. I don't think you can fight this at all.
Chitin is here. He does get rooted up. ICGE is forced to dash.
Symphonics here.
He's got the dash in. There's the flash curse. The sad mommy. Symphonic finds 2. Chitin is stacked up though. There's the showstopper. Squid gets into the backline, but there's no real backline to access. Angry Presence finally goes down, but Chitin is still alive. There's Glada, but Chitin has the guillotine. Merciful Crow, you have flash. He's gonna try and get away, but Chitin is ghosted. There is no escape. The hook somehow doesn't land. That looks a little finicky, but Chitin is gonna be able to walk away from this one just fine. Merciful Crow somehow survives.
Prada got 2 resets off there, and I was like, oh, is this the change? Is this the turn in the tide? Chitin then noticed that he got 2 resets off and was like, nah, you're my next prey now. That was a lot closer than I thought the fight was gonna go. Granted, it did end up being a 4v4. I genuinely thought DZG would have more of a advantage there as far as fighting goes because of the amount of gold that they have. Turns out to not be the case, but they are still close to 4k to gold up right now. Not a lot was lost. Mid tower, I would assume, is going to be the next objective for them because they don't seem to really care. Maybe this Drake will be an option for them, being Hextech. But I don't really think they're going to put a lot of time or effort into Drake's. Symphonic is going to walk down into 3. Run away, my friend.
He's dodges out from the Winter's Bite from Ipsy. Glada is looking to potentially grab the stun. He's going to miss it. Symphonic gets the beta shots into Glada to dodge Squig, but Squig doesn't want him to get away. There's the Haymaker to make sure he goes down, and that for sure is going to be the Hextech Dragon going over to Conduit.
I know he's a sad mummy and all, but sending 5 down there, he was like, I got some more friends. Wait a minute, why are you hitting me? Drake does go over to Conduit. They do have the active bounty as well, which does give them a little bit of gold extra in their back pocket. Another win, Drake. I'm tired of seeing these. We've got 3 of them now. Right, what have you done?
Man, if Atlas from the LCK was here, he would be so thrilled, but we do have our 3rd Cloud Soul, and in this case, I think this is a soul that actually DZG really wants to get their hands on.
I think they're thinking at the point, like, they've not really paid much attention to Drake in all 3 games, even these 2 right now. They didn't seem to want to put any vision up, but the only person was Symphonic who was kind of doing it. I think in their mind, they're thinking, we don't really care for it. We can give something like the soul over because at this point now, compared to the last 2 games, they are now ahead. They were behind, as Chitin is going to continue to try and look for something, but Glada is here as well.
Spotted out by Symphonic. Nice ward over the wall. But yeah, they are just going to take the second Herald. This is the control that DZG's had in these games. Just taking the early objectives on the other side of the map. Making sure they've always got the Herald in pocket to make a push happen.
And just able to just funnel more gold into somewhere. So I would imagine they probably won't put it mid because this tower's low enough to where Chitin should be able to take it by himself. My guess it would be either bot or top in that sense, as Symphonic has been caught out again by Glada. Glada's been trying to be proactive and make something happen. Chitin is just terrifying on this Darius. He's 5-2. First item completed. Is now going to start building some resistances as well. Like, how do you kill him? I don't think, unless Glada gets into like a Blade of the Rune King, I don't see how you kill this Darius quickly.
Yeah, this is also the tankier Viego build that has been nerfed, I think, about 100 times at this point. Just the fact that he goes for the Sunderer, into like some bruiser items, because all he cares about in these fights is getting the reset and getting someone else's items. As long as he can live long enough to make that happen, he's feeling fine. Even though Riot really wants to be able to like build Bork, build crit, be like an aggressive fighter, as long as he's got that reset passive, he doesn't care.
Well, it is something that we have seen in LCK, where they end up going Sunfire into Blade of the Rune King. It gives him that tanky survivability that he wants, but also Blade of the Rune King, just as an item right now, is giga strong. I think I saw it in the chat, why didn't Kiten build it on Diana last game? That is also something that's been very popular, in that you go Sunfire into Blade of the Rune King as well. Just the combo of the two on like your Yasuo's and your Yones do really, really well. Kiten don't care, brother. My guy's in there.
Aggressively taking this tower. Glada has to flash away. There's the encore from Seraphine, but Kiten and Egger Present do not care. Naxia Guillotine for the execute. Kiten goes on a rampage.
Oh, my guy's got 6 kills now. I don't see how to deal with him. I really don't. There's no way in which, like, in the next 10 minutes they are able to build anything that is going to be able to stop this Darius from snowballing. Mid tower's now going down. Put him in a side lane. Throw Hello and Symphonic in the mid lane. Like, this is a free lane for them as well. And just continue to put more money into Kiten's pocket.
Yeah, this is the Darius in your solo queue games that everybody warns you about.
It's on their team. It's never on my team. Mine's going 0-6 at this point.
Yeah. But this time, Kiten is making it work. Kiten has a penchant for making these slightly less traditional, less meta picks work out, as we saw with the AP Zeri in our last series, and now with the mid Darius in this one. He's making it look really good, and even if they do commit all their resources to actually taking out Kiten, Angry Present isn't, like, weak. That's a 2-item Olaf. That's still a scary threat that you have to be worried about.
And only saying that, once Kiten ends up getting the second item here as well, like, who's going to stop him? You just not. And then you have ICG, who's just slowly scaling up on this Ornn. I genuinely am trying to see, how does Conduit get back into this? Symphonic's found one, though.
Finds Glada, doesn't get the Heartbreaker off over the wall. The Strikebreaker slow is there. Glada's trying to get away. Another bandage toss from Symphonic. The bleed is ticking away. Glada has health potions, though, so I think he's going to be able to walk out. But yeah, just how much resources he had to burn to be able to survive that engage.
Good catch by Symphonic. Like, I know he came to.
Oh, that was the crystal arrow from Hello. Just he caught the tail end of that. Symphonic again on Squig. He doesn't have the Curse of the Sad Mummy. He has to flash himself out of there. You know what? We appreciate the aggression. I like what you're going for there, Symphonic. Way to go.
He's like forcing the be my friend, damn it. Not that hard, though. Symphonic didn't have that Curse of the Sad Mummy, as you mentioned, so I think that was the biggest thing.
Look at this flank. Look at this flank. Kiten
again. It's happened again.
Squig is going to have to face check them. The Haymaker shield is really big, but then Noxia Guillotine is there. Ipsy is going to block out the Call of the Forge God. Nice positioning on that Braum, but it is a double kill for Kiten. He's blast coning over the wall.
Oh,
he
slow hit.
Crow so badly. A nice slow from Hello means goodbye, Merciful Crow. It's a triple kill for Kiten.
Oh, what's happened, DZG? What have you done? They were like, okay, we're going to let them win game 1, and game 2, we're going to make everyone sweat. Now they're like, all right, dinner's ready. I need to get in this game real quick. Kiten on an absolute rampage right now. Has 2,100 gold in his pocket. I don't know, whatever he's going to pick up. He could just pick up a sickle at this point. It should still be fine. DZG coming in. They've taken... Go ahead.
He's near 10,000. He's near 5,000 over his late opponent right now. This is just... This is a Darius
lead. All the gold lead. The entire gold lead is on Kiten.
Yeah, that is a sizable lead in the mid lane, and I like that Angry Present has been playing around it. They've been finding the flanks, and once ICG hits 14, that's an upgraded Stridebreaker in his pocket as well.
Yeah, right. Oh, never mind. Red buff got stolen. Hey, Billy with it. They're gonna kill that. Oh, my God. Kiten pulled one over.
Kiten pulls Ipsy over. The smite comes through from Angry Present. The Haymaker's over the walls. Symphonic takes a ton of damage. This might be the fight that they were looking for. Kiten is still alive. He's down. 1,000 shutdown gold. Goes over to Squig. Angry Present is trying to get the auto attacks and finally picks him up. Hello and the ICGE are still alive, though. This is the auto attacking Ashe. Angry Present finally goes down. Billy Ward is forced to flash away, but he is slowed up. Angry Present did fall. Merciful Crow trying to walk away from that one. And they are going to be able to kite it out. That's a 3 for 3, and that's big shutdown going over to Squig.
There was a lot of shutdowns there, didn't everyone? Well, Olaf and Kiten ended up dying. A ton of gold. He still has a shutdown. So if you kill him again, I think that should be about 400 something, 450 gold in your pocket, I would imagine, just because of the 200 extra bounty that he has on him right now. Item-wise, Darius is more or less at 3 items. Merciful Crow's at the 1 in a wee bit. I know Squig ended up getting the shutdown from that, but I mean, I don't know if it made too big of a difference. DZG is still up 6k. I think they gave up entirely maybe 1,000 gold in that entire fight with having Kain and Angry Present going down. But it going to the set probably wasn't the best thing. But you don't even think about it at that point. That was probably just something where DZG was a little bit on the wrong page. Hello on this. Ash is slowly scanning though. Seeing the second seeing another dagger coming through tells me potential rune ends, which is what I want to see.
Is here. The bandage toss. Ipsy's taking a lot of damage. Gets the Unbreakable up.
There's the
ICG is here on the flank. The Ornhorn is available. They know that the Unbreakable isn't there. Chitin is just forcing Billy out of this lane. Oh, if he had walked a little bit more forward. Billy Willard gets to complete his recall, though. He's totally fine. Chitin still has Ghost in pocket. And yeah, like you were talking about, he's just in the side lane. Who can answer him? Who's going to be there to wave clear who isn't in threat of him just running at him?
Billy!
Right now, Billy doesn't have the Feather Sword available either. Billy Willard is just dead. He's just gone. No flash, no heal, Noxian Guillotine, goodbye.
You have to send 2 people down here if you don't, because Darius is going to take your whole base at this point. Kain is running a Merciful Crow. Oh no, wrong way!
Wrong direction. The Encore is there, but Angry Present has the Ragnarok. He does not care. Chitin and Angry Present have been on the same page for this entire game, playing beautifully together. Glada is here, so is Ipsy, but Squig is your damage source at this point. They're going to be forced to walk away, but it's a 22-minute inhibitor.
That was... I don't know if Merciful Crow had accidentally clicked the wrong way to be able to walk in that direction. That's the wrong way to go. Kain's found another one.
Ipsy get pulled over the wall. There's the Unbreakable. Angry Present is just tanking up.
Yes,
the Arrow is gonna find Viego, gonna catch him. Locket is gonna keep him alive for a little bit longer. Glad it doesn't have
another one.
Kraken gets another hook over the wall. He's running low on mana though. He does have to be worried about his resources here. He's got the Conqueror stacked, but I think they're happy just walking away as they've gotten another 2 towers across the map in the meantime.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, I was going to say, Hello just been slowly taking out towers at this point. That was a 2v4 almost, and they looked like they wanted to take it, but it was probably the rest of the team saying, hey, let's not throw what we have away right now. We're obviously very, very strong at this point. Let's not try and throw away. That gold is blown up from 6k, now we're at 10k. They can probably just 2-man Baron if they really wanted to. And if Conduit wanted to try and... I don't think they can even walk near them. If it's 5v5, like, you just giggle loose. There's no way... They wanted it they got close into the Dragon Pit, but at that point, I'd still say it's heavily DZG favored. TP coming in from Merciful Crow, though. They could be calling the Baron.
He's teleporting in. They're calling for the Baron. They're trying for a desperation play. The Chitin and Symphonic are here. The recalls did come through. Hello almost has the Crystal Arrow available to him. ICGE has the Call to Forge God, but Ipsy is waiting for it with that Unbreakable. I think Chitin is happy if he wants to take this fight. They have to peel off. Angry Present is here.
Arrow!
It's gonna find 1! Billy is gonna get picked up. The Curse of the Sad Mummy's gonna find 3 as well, and it's just a slaughter. DZG is gonna take everything in this game. Chitin finds 1, finds his 2nd, and Hello is gonna keep Swig slowed down to find the 3rd, and I think that's just the end of our series.
Conduit making a desperation play and says, hey, we need the Baron or it's bust, and it's good to see from a team that, you know, you all commit together, because that's very, very important, especially in this elo, but DZG just running away with this. Their wallets are super strong. Darius is at 3 items, as well as an ornament there as well with the Yuan at 14. I don't know why they're going to bot tower. They could probably just eat the towers and end the game. They have a mini wave left mid lane. They could probably just end the game.
With the respawn timers being as short as they are, I think they're just choosing to take the safe play, take the bot in the mid inhibs. I don't hate this play because now it means the Baron should be a free resource for them to pick up. But yeah, with Darius having that Dream Shatter in inventory, with the Death Stance as well, again, we asked this question like 10 minutes ago. We're asking it again. How do you kill this Darius?
I don't think you do. I mean, you have to land all your CC upon him, which makes it... But if you do that, then Angry Present just runs at you. Like, I just don't see how they go. Now they're going to get a second Cloud Drake. Yeah, a little bit more movement speed on them as well. Bot and mid lane is down.
Importantly.
Yeah, you just send everyone top at this point. Hell, you can go to Baron and just say, hey, you can try to answer us if you want. But if you do that, right, yeah, mid and bot will just push to end the game. They don't even need all 5 people at Baron. Hello and ICG could probably just do this by themselves. Maybe Angry Present will come just for Smite secure.
I was about to say, Chitin, you're not recalling yet, and he was just standing still there for a little bit, just delaying his recall a tiny bit longer. But yeah, he's gonna be looking to pick up that Stair Axe as his 4th item. He still has the Doran Shield in inventory. He's just had enough economy in his pocket for this whole game that he doesn't have to care. In the meantime, as well, I know we've been talking about Angry Present and Chitin a lot, but I want to give props and shoutouts to ICGE and to Symphonic. While Symphonic has been, let's call it, a bit overly aggressive,
That guy wants to fight. He wants friends, bro.
Yeah, he's been looking to take engages for his team because he knows how strong they are. He knows how far ahead they are. And ICGE is playing a beautiful frontliner. He hasn't died once. And speaking of Symphonic, finding an engage, he's caught out Squig with the sweeper. Chitin is here as well, forcing Glada to flash away. He still has the Heartbreaker, but Squig is just dead. Ipsy possibly the next one to fall, but he's gonna jump over the wall to his friend Billy. But with the top laner gone, ICG is just gonna upgrade Angry Presence Stridebreaker as well, and that's a Baron guaranteed.
Yeah, this game is more or less done, I think, at this point, as you just send all 5 mid, and you can even send them top if you really wanted to take out, like, you know, a more strategic end to the game, because mid and bot lane will push themselves in, being that the inhibitors are down and with super minions coming in.
What you do is you send Chitin mid lane alone, and the rest of DZG up towards top side. Let Chitin
I still want to face that, bro. I still don't want to face that.
Yeah, let Chitin have his 1v5 dream. He's earned it. Anger Present wants to find the fight. Billy Willard is going to use the Featherstorm. There's the big CC combo. Ipsy doesn't have the Unbreakable just yet. A nice 2-man knockup. Anger Present is here. ICGE wants to make this fight happen. He's looking to be the frontliner. Chitin is not here yet, though. All of your gold lead is not in this fight. Hello might be the target to fall. The Heartbreaker's going to find him.
ICGE found 3!
Uh-oh, DZG. They might have overpushed their welcome. Anger Present gonna be flashing Winter's Bitten. Ipsy is gonna find it, but he does have the Cloud Dragon movement speed, so he's gonna be able to walk out. But that's a big throw from DZG.
I don't know what just happened. They were up 14k. Now they're only up 11k. Like, this was huge. Only. I know, I say that like it's a bad thing, right? Angry Present trying to hold mid lane here, though, but that was really disconnected. I think Chitin had... I don't think... Maybe he had back to sell the Doran Shield for the pickaxe, but even still saying that, like, you don't want to fight without your strongest team member in Chitin. But props to Billy Wood had a great 3-man route, which in turn set up Merciful Crow for the Seraphine ultimate as well. And then Glada was able to get, I believe, 2 resets off to be able to get 2 kills onto his belt. Great play. They noticed that they had a number advantage there. I don't think that'll happen again, though.
Yeah, the chances of that happening again are slim to none. The gold lead has shrunk down to 10k with the loss of those Baron buffs and a couple of shutdown golds. Chitin just wants to fight. He's found Yipsy again. He's got the Stridebreaker slow on him. Symphonic is here to look for the follow-up. The teleport's coming in from ICD as well. Symphonic is waiting for the Curse of Sad Mummy. He's looking for the opportunity. He wants to find it, but he doesn't have the targets just yet. Hello finds the Crystal Arrow onto Ipsy. Symphonic is looking for the target. He finds one with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. There's the Seraphine ulti, but Anger Present just does not care. Symphonic picks up Glada. Anger Present is just running a train on the front line. He is also a problem as much as Chitin is. Ipsy is going to survive for a little bit longer. Anger Present is going to find his...
Are you dead, Sunshine?
He might die. The stun comes through. Anger Present does get picked up, but the rest of his team is winning the fight and is probably just going to take the game.
Yeah, that was very, very close, but at the end of the day, this is what a gold lead is, right? Even though the fights look close themselves, a 10G gold lead, you've got a bag ahead. My guy just went pop, brother.
Symphonic found his way to be deleted there. Merciful Crow finds the last kill in the series because I think he'll be able to stop in his Nexus. But that is the DZG comeback. They take the game. They take the series 2-1.
That was a very, very good turnaround by DZG, but I want to also point out props to Conduit as well. Like, no point did they just roll over and show their belly and say, okay, we know we've lost, have at it. They still continue to play and make sure that, hey, we want to at least show that can we play from behind. But Darius, 27,000 damage, dude, in a 20... Man, guy nearly did 1,000 damage a minute. That's a lot for a Darius. Granted, he was fighting the entire time. Props to DZG, though. Like, they pulled out the reverse sweep really well.
Yeah, props also to Angry Present. The mid-jungle synergy was really there in that game 3. It was what we were looking for. Angry Present just made sure Chitin had a very comfortable laning phase, got his kills in the early game, was able to play as aggressively as he wanted to, and he was keeping up in damage as well. He did a respectable 23k.
Yeah, it's still, the mid-jungle duo was great. Like, you tried to see it all 3 games where Angry Present was kind of hanging around mid lane the entire time. I do want to throw something out to Hello as well. Hello had no resources that game. Was just told to just sit back and don't die. And that's exactly what Hello did, getting some great Ash arrows off ICG and Symphonic. Symphonic is always the guy that says, no, I want to go forward, and having the team behind him that was fed enough to say, we can follow you going forward. It's great that he was, even though he died 6 times, it was great to see that my guy built a full Thornwell at the end of that. It's great to see that he was still able to be proactive and say, hey, let's continue to make stuff happen.
Yeah, and I think the itemization was correct. I mean, he got the Thornmail as he died in the enemy fountain, But the item that he was going for was correct. Seraphine healing was the only reason that Conduit was able to stay in these fights for as long as they were. And the Viego with the Death Stance and the Divine Sunderer, it's a lot of healing. So I like that that's what he was looking for. It's good showing from Symphonic and from everybody on DZG. I think this was probably the best game of the series for them.
Yep. I think at this point it's like, okay, maybe clear up a little bit of the early game, hey, continuing into the split, but aside from that, they're mid to late. Even if they're behind, it still looks good.
Speaking of the split, I think with this win, it should mean that DZG has gone undefeated over the course of this entire split, only dropping 2 games total. So congratulations to DZG Elysium. Way to go, you guys. Props to you.
Yeah, it's something that we want to see them continue to do. I do think that as the split continues, that they are going to have to pull more innovative picks like the Darius out of the lab as well. We can see why the Olaf has been banned against the Angry President. They don't want to let that through. So if he ends up getting this, I'm sure him and Kaiten have got something spicy together that are able to continue to run through not just mid lane, but to remaining teams with as well.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing. DZG was the one that banned the Olaf in both of the previous games. So was this just a pick away from Glada? No, because because they had already locked in the Viego at that point. The Olaf was... This whole draft has given me a bit of a brain blast. But either way, that's going to be it from us tonight. Again, congratulations to DZG Elysium for making the undefeated season happen and making sure that they end the regular split on a high note. Well done. Thank you so much, Morpheus, for joining me tonight. Thanks, Alyssa, behind the screen, for making sure that the production all went well. And we will be seeing you guys next time.